Hey, what is going on, everyone? It is David Palmer, Leo King, and Brian Scarborough, Fixed Air Moon, for Spiritual Daddy on this September the 12th and the 13th of 2022. Thanks so much for being with us. And of course, make sure that you check the links down below in our apps. Our app update is actually going to hit the store any day. I just finished it all and submitted everything. So look out for that, especially with all the new features that are coming out. And make sure that you're a member of highvibe.tv by clicking down below on our apps. You can subscribe through Google, Apple, Roku, or of course Apple TV, and of course on highvibe.tv for the best deals, and still download the app and log in that way. What's going on, Brian? How you doing on this really weird retrograde time? I'm
doing all right. I'm doing okay. Hope everybody's doing good too. It's weird. It's kind of cool, kind of weird. I think time for me feels like it's blazing by, but then there's also this like stagnation. It's kind of like short days, long minutes, if you will.
Right.
It's a very strange kind of position, but it's going good nonetheless. Can't complain.
No, tonight's discussion is going to be about retrogrades in general. We called it retrograde roulette. But what's interesting is this is a very rare time in the retrograde cycle, which I don't hear a lot of astrologers talking about how rare it is. That's like in the more mainstream like channels, even though I'm a mainstream channel and you're a mainstream channel, but it's like really weird to just see them not post about that it's 6 planets retrograde. You know what I mean? Like it's not like
it's a lot.
And tonight, I think we're going to show so many things about how rare this is, but we also have a huge bombshell.
Big.
That's related to now, that was related to the last time we had 6 planets retrograde, and I don't know if people are going to be ready for it tonight. Do you?
No. Well, maybe. Maybe some could intuitively put the pieces of the puzzle together, but no, probably not many. It blew my mind. I'll tell you that much. So
you know what it feels like to me, but I don't want to get too confident. Just the way that they're putting on the news right now that Ukraine's going to win the war, and I'm already like 6 planets retrograde.
Yeah,
you really think that that's the news that's going to happen
in the age of propaganda?
Right,
sure.
Right. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like this is for sure not going to be the truth. It's for sure not going to be the truth. But what's interesting, I think, and I don't want to get to the bombshell first. We'll get to that in the show later. But I just feel like it's one of those things where even in the bombshell happened to be like the week prior to that retrograde, right? That clicked the 6th one into gear and the 7th one even. And now it's like weird, some of the weird stuff that happened the week prior to this retrograde cycle we're in is weird. But I think a lot of people might have a lot of questions like, we all have, not all of us, but a lot of us have a planet retrograde in our chart.
Usually at least one, but
yeah, but it's like when you start going down the percentages of how many, it becomes really rare.
Right. Yeah. I think, what was it, like 10% of people have 5 planets retrograde in their chart?
I actually have the exact
I know, we were just
stats
looking at that.
right here.
It was interesting to see those statistics.
That's a very Mercury retrograde way of putting things.
My speech is so Mercury retrograde right now. I'm definitely feeling it there.
Well, I think before we even show the stats to this, I just think it's like important for us to like people know. A lot of people might not really be into astrology or something like that, but from Earth's point of view in a geo chart, we have to remember in the helio model of the sun at the center that when Earth is passing a planet or a planet is passing Earth is when we go through a retrograde, because it's literally looking in our view like it literally is going backwards because we're passing it. Or that planet, Mercury or Venus, is passing us. So it's like, it's not so much an illusion.
No, it's more of a phenomenon, if you will.
I think it's a natural cycle. Like It reminds me of being in track, even though I was not in track team, but if I had to run the track and I was going around a turn, and somebody was on my inside passing me, it was like I felt like I was falling behind, right? Or if I was on the outside and I was being or if I was on the inside and I was passing somebody, it felt like it's also in NASCAR, when you get into the right position, you can draft somebody, you know? And so I feel like that energy of drafting, right? When you pass somebody, and the same thing for me in racing jet skis and stuff. If I pass somebody like on the inside and I hit it, you get in their draft and you take away their momentum and you take away their vibe, right? Like, oh, and just boom. So whenever, like, especially Mercury, Venus pass us, they get this whole like, ha, 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 da, 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 and Earth kind of feels like, oh man. And that's what we get that the most with Mercury, of course, because it's 88 days around the sun. So 3 times on average, but like next year, we get 4.
Yeah, just to add to the strange of this year already is we get 4 Mercury retrogrades, which, I mean, that happens every couple years, that it works out that way with our calendar system, but just one more Mercury retrograde in the year. Why not?
Right. I mean, and the weird thing is we're also going through that Jupiter-Neptune year, right? That's once every 13 years, where Jupiter and Neptune come into alignment, where Earth passes Jupiter and Neptune at the same time in the same spot from a heliocentric model. Like teaching people on deep astrology for years about how to read the helio to understand the geo effects, I think has helped a lot of people, because a lot of people kind of hear retrograde and they just think it's an illusion. Or when I was at UAC in 2018 on Netflix, it was like, I don't even want to say their names, but like watching them just say, well, it just works, instead of giving Netflix like, no, there's an actual science behind this and logistical energy, and Ptolemy really did a good job on helping people understand this. But, you know, that's where I think a lot of astrologers fail in today's world, is they don't know how to like let people know that a retrograde is a real thing and it actually does happen. We've seen, I think people write it off way too much, trying to act like it's mysterious or that we're creating something out of nothing.
No,
when it's not.
It's mathematics, really, right?
Yeah.
When you think about it. Because if you think about just the heliocentric model, you have the planets that go out in order: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, so on and so forth. The planets on the inside lane, like you were talking about, they move faster, so they're going to pass. Mercury 88 days, Venus every 18 months, Mars passes on the outside corner. Well, actually, we pass Mars on the inside, but he's on the outside every 2 years.
And then we only see Mars, right, for that 1 year, and then the next year we don't see Mars.
Yeah, gets behind the sun a little bit.
And then whenever the 2 planets, Mars, Venus, that take the longest to retrograde, do the weirdest thing. Like, we see the brightness and red of Mars, and we don't see it for a year. And then with Venus, right, we switch to a morning star and evening star every 9 months, like a pregnancy. It's really weird.
Yeah, Venus is one of the most interesting ones to me.
Yeah.
Just because of that, like, it's such a bright luminary star. It's just so prominent in the sky, and that you see it only in the evening and only in the morning at certain times of the year is very interesting. But when you understand the transits and the pattern and how that, you know, plays out, it makes a lot more sense. And, you know,
I want to know your feelings, because I've been doing this so long to where it's like a lot of people say the morning star Venus is better energy wise than the evening star. Do you have any opinion about that at all?
People say the morning star is better.
Yeah. A lot of people, because the brightness of it, you have to remember that, and it's also in a rising position, right? Any planet that's rising is powerful than it's at fall, especially Venus being in a position to where it literally falls, right? Which actually is in a powerful place, but it's kind of a weird thing. A lot of people have always said relationships or money or stuff starts to go into the darker fall position as we see it fall, right? Because it's still the idea of it falling. Whereas Venus is when it rises, and then it disappears into the rising elements, right?
Right. But when it rises as the morning star, it does fall before the sun does in the evening. Maybe that's...
Well, you don't see it. You don't see it,
no, because of the light, of course, but...
So you don't have an opinion on that?
What's the name they give the morning star? Like
Lucifer?
Lucifer. That's just Lucifer. So I don't know.
That's the name of
I don't necessarily prescribe it that energy, but I've always preferred it as the evening star for whatever reason. And I was born with it as the evening star, so maybe that
me too
plays into effect. Is like there's something about when I see Venus as the evening star, it just kind of resonates with me, and I'm like, oh, Venus. But I will say, since moving down here, I've seen Venus as the morning star more than I ever have in my life. And I have an appreciation for it up there. I don't know if it necessarily makes a difference. I haven't come across like a difference in people that have a morning star or an evening star that's like noticeably a starch difference that I would be like, oh, but, you know, if you have this in your chart, there's a difference. It hasn't played out that way for me.
How about I give you an interesting, like last week we went into financials. Mm-hmm. So we're about to come through this again. Last week we were talking about it. Think about 9-10 months ago with the markets when Venus went to morning star.
It was looking pretty good, huh?
And then it didn't turn out too well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh.
So it's about to be the evening star again here soon, coming into the later part of this year. Wonder what that's gonna maybe a little more propaganda run up.
I mean, especially it is kind of weird too, because like right now, like we're at a position to where the Earth is as we're talking here in September, where we're literally about to pass Neptune. That's what the sun opposed Neptune is.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what's so interesting is these TikTok astrologers, these Instagram,
they
they don't understand it. Like I hate to say it when they say sun opposed Neptune or anything, they really don't understand the actual cosmology of our solar system.
They kind of kill me too when you see like Mercury pass the sun direct and they'll call it a cazimi.
I know.
And I'm like, it's an inferior conjunction. It's actually on the opposite side of the sun.
Right.
It's only close to the Earth. And
right.
A cazimi in the heart of the sun, that's what cazimi means, in the heart of, when it's retrograde.
Right.
And Venus does it, Mercury does it, and then Mars doesn't. You know, other planets, if people use that word, it's weird because it's not really that energy in the heart of the sun from our view. Yeah, people don't get that layer, and I think it makes a big difference too, especially when you even look at a lot of people's charts and you kind of go into like stelliums.
Yeah.
It's very interesting that you'll get like a Mercury Venus with the sun, but they'll both be direct. And it's like, you know, and people wonder why it doesn't like maybe play out prominently. And it's like, well, actually, if you think about it, those planets are as far away from Earth.
Right.
Like, yeah, they're with your sun in your chart, but those planets are actually really far away.
Yeah, they could, and especially from a helio point of view, they might not even be in the exact same space sometimes too. Like that's the whole other thing is it's understanding how to know both. Like, and that's what I feel. And I know there's flat earthers out there that are really into that, but they haven't they've given me pictures to show there's not a curvature, but they haven't been able to really wholeheartedly give me
a good retrograde explanation.
The retrograde thing is fucked
or
up.
Eclipses. But I mean, I can see the transits from their perspective, but yeah, eclipses and retrogrades, I've yet to hear good reasoning from that side.
Or even a cazimi moment, or to me, I feel like at the same time too, like doing helioastrology so much that I'm like, holy shit, like seeing the setup, right? Like seeing how Jupiter, Neptune met in a conjunction on Earth first from our view, but then it didn't really happen till just months ago, like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. And then we saw Jupiter come into Aries, and we saw these new stories all really start to begin in life, and all that stuff. Big ones,
new monarchs and crazy
yeah,
shit.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like they can't give you a helio perspective. They can't give us a solar perspective from flat Earth off of Earth.
Nope.
So until a flat earther and I love Santos Bonacci.
I do too.
And you know what? I don't want to debate him because I don't think it's a debate, but I just think like until he can show me a system outside of Earth to describe what their little models are that they show that can actually give me a complete understanding like a helio perspective can give, because a helio perspective is what I use to even make the biggest predictions I've ever made, when some people will be like, what are you talking about? It might not be the moment geo-wise, but I'm like, oh, look at this shit helio-wise going on right now.
Right.
Or like I've been showing people whenever planets are coming around the sun between Saturn and Pluto, how it's that weird gap in between, and
that weird
and that's where
space.
Mercury has been during this retrograde. So it starts to put people really farther down south than they realize. Or having the fact that it was the sixth planet that retrograded, and how rare is that? It's super
Extremely rare, which we'll show later. I hope Santos actually does see that. I would love to see his perspective on retrogrades and eclipses, because he hasn't put that out yet, and he's put out a ton of other information. So not like a debate kind of thing, but I would be very fascinated to see what his opinion on it was, because I do respect him with his astrology and the way he incorporates it with flat Earth, for sure.
Well,
no one else does that.
I mean, his astrotheology has been top notch for the astrology community. So I feel like for him, I would just like to see his perspective on those things.
100%.
I'm not, and actually, if anybody's actually made me look at the flat Earth thing more, it was definitely his work.
I agree. I was not into it, and his work definitely was like eye-opening. Like, oh wow, this could work. You could use astrology and that system together, which was definitely gave me more of a just an open mind towards it. We
should probably have him on the show.
I'm not sold to anything. That would be epic.
Because I'm going to be honest, I've been watching him for so long, but like over the years, I just haven't found anybody that gives him actually like good astrological questions. I think he's bored. Every time I see him, it's like he's like, nobody gets it.
No, he's usually debating some. He calls him globetard,
right?
I'd love to talk to him. I just think he's a fascinating guy.
Yeah, and when he says globetard, like I can understand that. Like I'm not even trying to say we maybe even live on a globe either, right? I'm just saying it's more of like there is a helio-based system that works fucking efficiently and understands the retrograde cycles precisely to where we can predict when they're going to happen perfectly. So I'm just wanting to understand what the math is besides Ptolemy's version, which of course then piggybacks off of the helio version.
Yeah, I'm with you. We got these systems that just seem to work. So it's like, how do you discount the helio? I mean, whether it is what it is or not, if you put that system in alignment and you start to work with it with the geo, it works.
It literally is how astrology is, where it all divinely aligns. It divinely aligns.
Exactly.
So that's the kind of the weird thing. And I think, that's weird. We went to somebody who actually knows a lot about fucking astrology more so. And then talking about these TikTok astrologers that fucking don't even know what the fuck they're talking about and just do little bullet point things.
It's
and
clickbait.
Clickbait.
It's entertainment over there,
It's entertainment. I get it.
It's just quick.
But
people like that quick hit entertainment.
Yeah, but I'm just, we're at a time where we can't play around like anymore with the way that it is. So the clickbait stuff's cool.
It's not going to last. It might get them a following and it might feel great now, but it doesn't have longevity, if you will.
No.
Won't matter.
Well, because if we think of that we're in 6 planets retrograde, right? Not 7. We almost are getting there, but we're not. And, in 2016, we had 5 planets retrograde, which was very similar to the last time that we had. Oh, I'll show people the graphic right now. Here we go. So we had 6 and 7 retrogrades in the 43, December 43 through 44. We had 6 retrogrades like we have now in March of 1920. And then we had 7 retrogrades April 29th through May 4th, only for 5 days in 84. And then we had 7 retrogrades in July of 86. So for us to have 6 retrogrades, the last time was in 1943. Which, I do have that chart. I have to add it. I'm going to add all these little charts here. So 1912, 43. So this is when we had Yeah, that was the 7 retrogrades.
That was 44.
I guess I didn't do the 6. Oh yeah, 1926. I'll just show a 6-1 where the only planets that were direct were Venus and Uranus. And it's really weird that when you look at all these retrograde charts, the one planet that is always direct is Venus.
Yeah. And it's Mercury catches like a
Yep. And it's Mercury retrograde
before another planet comes
days
on or whatever, yeah.
And then there's these like little moments, right?
Which is exactly what we're getting with this one.
And it was Chiron Aries in 22. How weird was that? Like, you know, and Node and Taurus are exactly where we've been at.
That's South Node in Taurus.
Right? Yeah. And World War energies so much. But, you know, whenever you're seeing, and that was a Jupiter-Neptune year too. So I would say the most relatable to what we're in right now is actually March of 1920.
Yeah.
The fact that we have a Jupiter-Neptune conjunction that we've been going through this year. We're having a Mars retrograde that's about to happen. Of course, that one happened in Scorpio with a North node. This one's going to be happening in Gemini without a node. But the fact that, you know, we've had 18-degree node that has been the big show.
Mm-hmm.
And we're here. And then, of course, Chiron and Aries. And it's interesting seeing that the sun is, you know, at that moment where we did get into 6 planets retrograde, happens to be exactly where Neptune's retrograde right now. So it kind of is the most relative, even though
it's right where Jupiter and Neptune met too.
Yeah. Although it's kind of weird that it's Uranus and Venus, where we're dealing with Mars and Venus right now. They're only 2 planets direct. Everything else is retrograde. But, you know, March of 2020 was pretty radical.
Yeah, it sure was.
I mean, you know, it wasn't like a year of normality per se, especially when you go into that March period. Like they talk, I mean, here it is, takes people taking over as new prime minister, right? For a social democratic government. The idea of that whole social democratic government.
Democratic socialism.
Yep.
Which is
communism.
Hate to break it to people.
Right. And then there was an answer to, especially Germany lost in World War I. And so they built the Ruhr Red Army, a communist army, 60,000 men strong, is formed in Germany. That is weird. Constantinople is occupied by British forces. Greece begins using the Gregorian calendar. But the big one is the United States Senate refuses to ratify the Treaty of Versailles. And to me, that's a big deal because that was, of course, probably one of the biggest peace treaties ever. And this is what Hitler then broke all the aspects to it in order to go to World War II by building his Luftwaffe and his military up. And, of course, his most famous picture is when Hitler is breaking it in France and a train car. I spelled treaty wrong. I don't know if you remember history with this kind of stuff, but yep, train car used. So the train car used to sign the World War I armaments, Hitler then comes back, brings that train car into France after he takes it over, right? And says, fuck you, motherfuckers. I'm going to do whatever the hell I want. And, hold on. Yeah. So Adolf Hitler had the wagon move back to the exact site of the 1918 signing for the 1940 signing due to its symbolic role. The wagon was later destroyed near the end of World War II, most likely by the SS. So, you know, France, or Ferdinand Foch, second to the right. So he was the one who signed it. And then there comes Hitler and bringing it back to the exact spot. So here it is in 1918, the end of World War I. And it's so weird that the U.S. Senate doesn't decide to like? I guess they don't ratify it. So, but it is kind of interesting when you think of the Russia-Ukraine stuff going on right now, and when you think of, God, I just hate to say, I think a lot of people are about to be blown their minds when it comes to, and this isn't even our bombshell, but it's just like there's some weird shit going on here.
Mm-hmm. And that was when, Germany's big inflation.
That's true too. Yeah.
Which I found a cool graph on that.
Yeah. Why don't you share? I'll show you. I just think it's really interesting, like thinking about how 1920 is the year in which that you get that weird moment where the U.S. Senate refuses to ratify the Treaty of Versailles.
Mm-hmm.
In that transit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And really, if just before we look at your chart really quick, let's look at that date again. March 15th, 1920, and on March 15th, Constantinople is occupied by the British Empire forces acting for the Allied powers against the Turkish national movement. So it is kind of weird that there is this occupation that takes place.
Yeah, it had to do with like the dissolution of the Ottoman regime.
Yeah, the Ottoman regime was forever. So, through the 1600s, through the 1200s, right? Until 1922, pretty much in Istanbul. So, that's like a huge empire coming to an end.
It's interesting stuff.
That is. So what do you got here for us?
It was a graph I saw just on that hyperinflation.
I'll pull us away for a second.
Because it's just so insane to look at. Like,
I know I told you, I'm like, look up the German hyperinflation of 1920.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was called the Weimar hyperinflation.
Like, sure, you get like your standard market down here, but this is after World War I, so a massive accumulation of debt to fund World War I, and the colossal reparation demands post Germany's defeat ultimately precipitated a plunge in the German market, financial panic and economic collapse as major industry in Germany ceased to function, particularly with French occupation of the Ruhr region, the dominant producer of coal, steel, pig iron in the country, insurance of a new paper currency, the Rentenmark finally helps.
The Rhinemark.
The Rhinemark. Is that how you say that? The Rhinemark. Yes. Finally helped stabilize the currency and overcome the hyperinflation, but that is absolutely gnarly, and it did come back. It started coming back, World War II, but it took a long time for them to get their, stabilization of their currency, because hyperinflation's crazy.
You know who brought that stabilization?
Hitler,
and that was his way of getting into power. Was like saying, "Look at how bad."
Well, yeah,
they dealt with money, and he threw that on the Jews and the central bankers being the Jews. And they threw that on a bunch of other things. But it is weird that it was like the second he got it down, then he just went and just fucking pumped it all back up. But that's how they use socialism.
Yeah, and it was, sure, it suppressed the inflation, but it created scarcity, right?
Well, and it was felt around the world. So if you look at the imported deflation from the USA, as the Fed hiked rates to contain stock market speculation, German capital inflows lessened. And the war represents, especially given a strong desire. You have to remember that we felt it, but then America went crazy on stocks. 80% of people owned stock through the 1920s. That's why the crash was so big. It was like how everybody has a little bit of crypto or a little bit of stock.
Which is interesting. It was North Node Scorpio.
Yeah.
Which you'd think, do your investments.
Right.
Kind of flip from now.
Yeah, but like in America, 1929, right? Like
right.
It did work. Everybody was into it. It was the Roaring 20s, they called it, because we were on the gold standard still. I think we still were.
Yeah, I think that happened I want to say
actually
like
no. I think
40.
the Fed came in and I had a bad day here in a retrograde. That flew off. I had a Sprite spill on my. It looks like I peed my pants right now.
Oh, no.
U.S. Fed. Oh, how funny. I put 8 instead of date, and then so it went rate. Oh, of course they're looking at dates for when their next meetings are. Yeah, 1913. So the Federal Reserve Act, and it became from financial panics prior from the panic in 1907, led to the desire for essential control of the monetary system in order to alleviate financial crisis. Over the years, events such as the Great Depression in the 1930s and the Great Recession during the 2000s have led to the expansion of the roles and responsibilities. It feels a lot like Germany.
It does. And we're starting to see that run up of inflation now.
Oh, yeah. And the idea that it's not happening is a joke. I mean, like I was just telling you, I was just on DoorDash when Sophia was here, my girlfriend, and we were ordering food, and I was like looking at appetizers, and a fucking lettuce wraps, 18 bucks.
Like an entree for that shit.
Oh yeah, the entrees are fucking
We're
now
not talking
crazy. Like we're talking a lazy dog
We're not talking a
restaurant.
5-star restaurant here.
Yeah, we're talking like, you know, like just a basic restaurant.
Yeah.
$17 right now for lettuce wraps.
For lettuce.
I was like, I ain't gonna buy that.
Lettuce.
She didn't want that, but I was thinking of it for myself. I was like, no, I'm okay. Or then I ordered a TV dinner, which looked really good, like whatever, and they just bring it frozen, and I had to order Wiener Schnitzel.
I can't believe that happened. I never considered that their TV dinner was
Me
actually
neither.
frozen.
I probably didn't read the fine print.
I never even considered. It's very
But I
Mercury
think it's interesting that, you know, like looking at you know, where we're at right now and how Venus has been the planet. So if we go back to these 5 planet retrogrades, you could see. So if we go to that March of 1920, Venus was not retrograde and Uranus was not retrograde. It was direct. In 43 through 44, just in that 1 month, it was again Venus and Uranus, which is kind of weird, right? Then when we had 7 retrogrades, it was just Venus. And then when we had 7 retrogrades again, in 86, it was Venus retrograde. And then, of course, in 2016, we had 5 retrogrades, right? So it is kind of an interesting moment that Venus always is the one. And then if you look at today with our 6 retrogrades, like that's what blows my mind the most about this is the fact that I don't hear other astrologers being like, it's a big deal. We're in 6 retrogrades. Only 2 planets direct, and Mars is basically stopped to fucking nothing. I mean, if we take people to see where we're at right now, right?
Take its sweet ass time to get to 25 degrees. That's for sure.
Yeah, here, I mean, here, that's Monday's chart.
Mars doesn't like to go slow.
Here's Tuesday's chart, so we'll do where we're at currently now. And it's just like, I don't think people realize it's like, look at how many things are retrograde. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's insane. It's like, okay, yeah, let's go Jupiter all the way down.
And Mars
right?
is pissed.
And then,
Mars hates
and
going
then
slow.
Mercury's retrograde too. So all you have is Venus and Mars. And Mars is shadow, and it's only doing half a degree a day, and it's not happy when it's slowing down.
No.
And it's within about 40 days. What's today's date? 47 days from going retrograde. Of course, Mercury retrograde is 3 weeks, but we're going to see Saturn get ready for its coming direct, Pluto, but we're going to see Mercury come direct before.
Yeah, it's kind of wild how many shifts take place in October.
But yeah, and I think that this moment here in September, like we'll use the Ukraine thing. That I mean, that's what's crazy. Like I just saw it on Zero Hedge. I saw that the top thing on Twitter. I'll use Twitter for it right now. Right, like we'll go to Zero Hedge. I just saw it. Right. Ukrainians are certain of victory.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
What changed?
Yeah, like the U.S. military has reportedly been making advances over the past week on the Western Front. God, this sounds like I'm reading fucking All Quiet on the Western Front again. World War I.
Literally.
Gaining back territory in regions of Kharkiv and Donetsk. You know what I heard from a couple military generals that are on YouTube that I'm not going to give their names because they kind of don't want to be found, is that Russia is baiting Ukraine to come to them.
I don't doubt it for a
Right?
second.
That's what they want. That they're that in every that's what the U.S. would do. That generals, that's how they think,
I
right?
don't know why people think Putin's dumb. There's not.
Or that like the Russian army, which is, I mean, let's be real. It's like one of the superpowers of the world.
Exactly.
Is losing a war. No, this is where you bait them, you bring them to make them feel, you come them all in, and then you just slaughter them.
Yeah, it feels like watching one of those old like kind of Viking war movies or something where they just get put in a really bad trap, and it's
exactly, especially with this Mercury retrograde and 6 planets retrograde, which we have not seen since the 40s, since World War II. We have not seen 6 planets retrograde since.
So interesting that everything comes back to war right now. You know, that's just like the general theme of everything.
I know. And they're talking about, you know, like again, it's the idea that they're going to win, right?
Yeah, get people, oh yeah, Ukraine.
Like, so look at, so they're going based off responses. You responses by Ukraine to the question, do you believe Ukraine will win the war? Yes.
Really?
From April to June. They have a good propaganda machine with the Jupiter Neptune that's going on right now. Like a really good fucking, you know what I mean? Like they got a really good prop machine propping it all up. So it's based off surveys.
Yeah.
And which, by the way, Zelensky controls the media.
Put that out there and said they gave us.
There's no opposition party allowed right now. They've all been jailed. There's no independent media allowed. There's how else are they going to get any other opinion?
We still haven't seen footage of anything that's happened.
No.
Like actual live whatever's going on.
No. So people are basing that because that's all they see. Like they're not giving you like, you know, I saw it on mainstream news today, right? Like on news.
Like you're going to tell me in 2022 that's what war looks like? Soldiers just walking down the road?
Like in the mainstream news, like they just showed it, but then it went off. Oh, is the war tide? This is a good Mercury retrograde question. Is war's tide turning in Ukraine's favor, and will that hurt Putin? These are questions. They're not stories, right? This isn't a story. This isn't a factual like thing happening. Ukraine scored its biggest victories in months.
Just to even say they're at a bloody stalemate sounds ridiculous. Because who knows, like, the propaganda machine. Who knows if there's even anything happening?
Well, I think the reason why I bring in this story up is the fact that we are in 6 planets retrograde. So how do you deal with 6 planets retrograde? This is not the time for, especially with Mars shadowing and being at 0.5 degree a day.
Yeah.
I mean,
Gemini.
In Gemini, right. And with the getting ready for the square to Neptune, which it will station retrograde square Neptune.
It's going to be the longest Mars square Neptune.
I think that this is where the only things that work in this many retrogrades are the things that have already come into our life and that they're gifts.
Yeah. I think there's something too about retrogrades that do bring change. Like they do, there's something that happens that, to me, there is an acceleration in some ways because of all the internal stimulation that happens with them. But it's usually not going to be new things, like you said. It's kind of like going over what you already learned to make the change and to get a better understanding of what you need to make something happen. It's probably going to be really weird, though, the rest of this month, with the tension that's building in different areas of the astrology, building up to a very tense eclipse that's probably going to pop something. I mean, we're at a point where these retrogrades could be a big catalyst for some of the weirdest shit we've ever had to internally process.
Well, and yeah, before I get to some of that data stuff, that's pretty crazy. It's interesting because it's like Mars and Venus are the two planets direct, and Mars is not at full power.
They're in square this week.
They're in square. And those are the dispositors of the North and South Node.
Right.
Taurus, Scorpio. That's Mars ruled Scorpio.
And they're both in a Mercury ruled sign.
And they're both in Mercury ruled sky. So everything's neutral and everything's stopped. And, you know, not every year, because it was very apparent in 2019 that Saturn Pluto station was like, get ready. This is going to be the weirdest fucking, you know, build up to this January 12th conjunction, right? So I was warning people in September, like, you better fucking be ready now. And nobody wants to talk about plagues, all those scenes. And when I filmed, a lot of that shit was all in that time period, right? Mm-hmm. And then I did the whole big warning in whenever that was, September. Oh yeah, it was September. I did my whole, like, my 2020 survival guide, which has been my number one place of my most predictions for blowing people's minds. And it was literally based off Saturn Pluto and the station and waiting for the direct, where you prepare. This is a moment of preparation. This is not a moment of,
even in Virgo season, there's something about Virgo that's trying to be prepared. Harvest the wheat, get ready for fall and winter. It's a lot of preparation right now.
Well, and especially the fact that everything's retrograde. So it kind of does feel like people are like, I just kind of don't want to harvest stuff.
There's definitely that feeling.
And Venus is in its fall position in Virgo. And it is getting closer to the sun, ready for its, inferior conjunction point in Libra that's going to happen, which is kind of a weird
29
place.
Libra.
Yeah, 28, 29 is when they're squaring, like where Pluto went this year and retrograde, where that weird 0 point starts to build up in the fixed signs, It's definitely this is the time to really just be taking in, like, I always used to say this: the retrogrades are after the direct. So we had this year all planets direct at points, right?
We had a lot of things moving,
and that's why I always tell people every year, like, when it's all direct, you better fucking go. Mm-hmm. Because when it all is retrograde, you're going to wish, God, I don't have it right now, or I don't have it. And when I told people this for years and years, for a decade, I'd always say direct is when the tide comes in, like at the beach, like the wave comes in. And then the retrograde is when it comes out and it's like you see just whatever the seashells and the shit that's there. Mm-hmm. Don't be trying to hope for more seashells. Like, you have to wait for the next year of the next wave of planets to move forward.
Yeah.
So it's about retrieving the stuff that's here. You can
get some treasures. Like, treasures came in that time. But it's definitely about going and grabbing the really valuable right now treasures that you did learn, and working and building with those and focusing on those and making sure they're a priority. Because if you're hoping, like you said, for the new, we're just not there yet. I mean, it's coming. There's going to be new. But
oh, yeah, and it's going to be... And I think this Mercury retrograde is a little hard because of the fact that it is with 5 other planets retrograde. And it is with so much of this kind of turning of the wheel of fortune on Fortuna, exact dead conjunction.
Yeah,
I didn't see anybody out there talk about that.
I don't even look at Fortuna. So no, I definitely didn't. Yeah, that was a good find.
I was blown away. Exactly at 8 degrees. I was like, 8 degrees. And that's the wheel of fortune, literally. It's Jupiter's daughter. And it's the one where there's ups and downs, and there's good luck and there's bad luck. And so, it is kind of a weird thing. I mean, it also could be the mindset. I don't know. It's funny because they're telling you about the Ukraine thing, about surveys from June and April. Not now.
Right.
Not now.
Who's to say there was even a survey?
I know.
That's how heavy the propaganda is right now.
Right. With Jupiter Neptune here in Pisces.
Stuff's just getting thrown out there like, believe this. Look at this. Go build your life around this.
Well, so, and if you think about retrograde planets and so forth, right, it's like, okay, if you were born with them, it's much more of an introverted energy instead of an extroverted. So this graph is an interesting one that helps people really see how rare it would be for you in your individual life to even have some of these transits, right? So it's like, okay, the number of retrograde planets in a natal chart, for you to have 6 like we're in right now. So anybody born right now, right? The expected value, it's 0.7 to 0.5% of humans that will ever be born that will have 6 planets retrograde. So the 1984 are very rare with that 5 days, which is weird. My first girlfriend in high school was May 1st of 84. And so, of course, I knew her chart. She was one of the first charts I always looked at. Mm-hmm. And I was like, holy shit, every planet's retrograde except for Venus.
Was she unique in that sense? Could you tell?
I don't know. It's a bit, well, I don't know.
Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I mean, she was a Taurus, so, and she had all that Scorpio stuff retrograde opposing her. I don't know. We were 14.
Right. It's hard to say. Just curious.
But I think
that's rare.
I think for her finding herself outward wise was definitely different than me. I always did when I finally got into astrology and I realized I was born in the year that a bunch of my friends had 7 planets retrograde and I didn't. Right? I have 3 planets retrograde. I was like, no one. I'm in that higher percentage, right? 26%, 29%, 2 planets retrograde. So actually the most common is 2 to 3 planets retrograde. That's a common place.
That's what I have.
Right? So it's like, I was like, thank God I was born early 84. No wonder I waited for 3 extra weeks in my mom's womb. Because Saturn was retrograde when I was supposed to be born and all that shit. And Pluto would have been still retrograde. Like Pluto and Saturn went direct right before I was born, like while I was still in the womb. And then I came out and I'm like, thank God. Hey,
I chose to be born a couple days after Venus retrograded and the day Mercury retrograded.
But I think if we take the astrology and we teach people in this way, like the idea that we are in 6 planets retrograde this year, which hasn't happened since the 40s, right? 0.7% of people, if you were born with it, have that. Meaning the period in time we're in right now
is that rare.
It's extremely rare. It's not normal at all. It's not even close to normal. I mean, 5 planets retrograde was, in
That's
2016.
A big jump, 4%. I mean, that's, 300% difference. Like, that's a lot.
Right. Or like astrologers who actually have 7 planets retrograde, 0%. And put it this way, people might trip when they see this number, right? Of like top known worldwide astrologers, okay? Like I'm on Astro Databank, like they contacted me and got my birth info. But I'm going to tell you, when you go to UAC, right? Last one was 2018. There really is only about, I would say, 1,000 real true professional astrologers in the world. And then there's usually about 3,000 people there. And the other 2,000 people are people that have the software, or maybe they do this, but they're not really doing it. They're doing
the conferences. And
yeah,
the
right.
stuff.
So that number is pretty accurate.
It looks accurate.
And that's already a rare thing. Like being an astrologer, and I'm not counting a TikTok astrologer. I'm really not.
No.
They've never been to a conference. They've never done a lecture anywhere. They don't know how to do a lecture yet. They don't know how to do like anything yet. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's one of those things to where it's like, anybody who's like really doing astrology from up, bottom, left, right, very rare. And 0 of them have 7 planets retrograde. And actually a lot of them have 2 and 3 planets retrograde. And it's weird because we already know in the control data, based off the math, that any astrologer or anybody doing this work that's on TikTok or anything, they weren't part of any rare moment to do that anyway. Or you could look at it in another way, right? If you were born in 84 or 86, you are extremely rare to have been born in a year that there were 7 planets retrograde.
True. The energy does kind of...
And George Orwell's book, do you think maybe he was using astrology to look at the year? Like, oh, this is when the systems going to start coming in, because I was trying to say this. I don't even remember where I was. I think maybe I was on stage, or maybe I forgot where I was. But I was saying that, I was just telling my girlfriend we were in bed. I was saying the New World Order already happened. Like, I hate when people say this New World Order is coming. I'm like, I'm sorry to tell people it already fucking happened a long time ago. The idea of when they brought the internet out, like, and you have George H.W. Bush saying New World Order and the internet then comes out, the way that they've set this whole matrix in the program up, and they knew for a long period of time they weren't going to have to where people can reflect 6 planets retrograde until 2022. And this little moment of September to go, what's really going on?
Did you see it? Did you get it?
Like, that's the interesting part, is 6 planet retrograde make you just focus on only the most very minimal but very powerful things. That's it. Like, so I was trying to DoorDash right when Mercury retrograde, and every place that my girlfriend and I have been doing has either said closed when they were open, or it says high delivery, we're not taking orders. So on Saturday night, I'm like, okay, I'm going to invert it and go to a restaurant that I normally have to get reservations for. And we just walked in and they sat us right at our table. So there's something where people are not going, everybody's just wanting to sit at home and DoorDash right now. Nobody wants to go out to the place to eat. Everybody's a lot more retreated in. So much so that I'm like, holy shit, I've never seen this in my life. I'm like a DoorDash pro.
Straight up.
I got like the highest account. It's crazy.
Your DoorDash tab is impressive.
It's insane. I mean, not even kidding. Like it gives you the numbers amount of saved is in the tens of thousands of dollars. I've saved tens of thousands of dollars. That means I've spent tens of thousands or more, whatever the fuck it is. But if you think about that,
I'm getting up there in my prestige with DoorDash.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice. But I think that it's really interesting thinking about how, it's extremely rare to even be at this place. And I feel that, there was the 5 planets in 2016 that he's referring to that were a lot aligned, like April and May of 84, right? But I really feel that when you just look at this table, I mean, it's like, if you think of the last, 120 years, or just do 122 years, or 100, and from 1900 to 2022, I mean, what's crazy is like to go back even farther, but you have to remember, Pluto wasn't found in 1920. It was found in 1930. So nobody...
Didn't even know.
No, consciously, right? So I think that's where this is at a new place for us all. Of course, we knew about Pluto in 84, and I feel like, astrologers at that time were also like, that was the ingress of Pluto into Scorpio too, where it was like, what the fuck is this, right? So that makes it even more rare. Now here we are getting ready for the ingress of Pluto in Aquarius. This is definitely not your average moment. This can make the most special shit happen, and also the most weirdest and craziest shit.
Yeah, I would agree. There's a lot of those precious little gems and seashells that washed up within us, and this is definitely that time for you to grab onto those and pick them up before the tide comes back in and gives you some more. But what are you going to do with what you got right now? I think that's very important, and to still push. Like, I feel like with all these retrogrades, we can definitely want to retreat, but there's still a push. We still got to keep going. We still got to keep living. We still got to keep doing. So it's like, maybe not the new things, maybe not expecting more, but pushing with what you got and like trying to make things work and prepare as best you can for the life that you're trying to live, or however you think the world may go. Like, at least, don't stop trying right now.
I mean, computers get associated with Mercury retrograde a lot. It kind of reminds me, if your computer broke, and be like, oh, I'm going to die unless I have a new one. It's like, you do have that one in the closet that I know it might be 5 years old, but this is where...
Or did you even try to fix it?
Did you... Well, that's where you maybe just use that one right now.
Right.
Or, you use what you already have, and then you focus on the precious things that already were aligned earlier this year and even prior, maybe. That finally have washed through the tide pulling, and that you could see it and you grab it. Like, this is not a time to If some random person's trying to be like, got a big job offer for you right now. You know what I mean? Got a great new plan for you right now. And it's all about some far out new shit. We're not using any of the resources. Venus is the only planet that's directing all these periods, right? We know for sure. Mm-hmm. It's about, okay, what do we already have? If you already have shit, maybe. But there's still a huge maybe. It's definitely not a guarantee.
There's no certainty.
I would not be like, if somebody's hitting you up like, hey, I'm going to do this for you right now.
And it's a guarantee.
And it's a guarantee.
It's very probable.
Exactly.
Kind of like that article up there.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not buying it.
No, I mean, because at the same time this weekend, it was September 11th, and fucking our vice president went on the air on Chuck Todd on NBC, right? Or CNBC or MSNBC, the longest running political show of all time. And basically said that, people who believe the election fraud are more dangerous than Al-Qaeda and all the terrorists we went for in 9/11.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. So now you have Biden, who did his big speech. Now you have the vice president who's backing that. So any American who has an opinion different than the opposition, this sounds more like Ukraine.
Right.
And I'm not going to say that Russia doesn't have that, because it's like Russia and Ukraine. They both have that.
They're married to me.
That's why I'm saying that Putin has installed Zelensky.
Yeah. I think they're married for sure. And just to think that opinion is in such an attack is fucking terrifying. Like, to hear our elected officials say that one group for having an opinion is the most dangerous people on this planet right now. Like, I think that election I think it got the fuck stolen out of it. I'll be completely honest. But
it was too weird.
I'm not dangerous. I'm not trying to do anything.
Hey, speaking of retrogrades, that election was a 0 degree year with a Jupiter Saturn, just like in 2000 with Bush. And happens to be that Bush is best friends with Biden. They're all like buddy, and they're on opposing forces.
Very strange.
But it was Mercury direct on the day of the election, right?
Still stopped.
Stationed, but it was stopped.
Yeah.
And Trump was winning that night, and then watching for weeks.
That was the weirdest thing.
That's so weird.
It was mathematically impossible at the time.
And all the fucking videos, I'm sorry that I can't believe people have forgotten that were caught fucking running fucking votes at night.
And somehow nobody cared.
And nobody cared. Them telling everybody to leave and then looking around and pulling out fucking.
No big deal.
I mean, like, all that. You're not allowed to look at that. You're not allowed. You're a fucking terrorist if you look at that. Crazy. Or that you even have question it.
Yeah.
Like, I question if the sky's blue. Is it because of the ocean, or is it because maybe we are above us is water? I'm allowed to have that opinion. I'm allowed to have that viewpoint. I'm allowed to think that astrology is relevant. And
no, you're not, David.
You know what I mean?
You are told it's blue because it's blue, and that's all you get, bro. You don't even start thinking for yourself. Don't even start trying to ask these questions. They don't matter.
And, I think it's just ironic that they compare it to 9/11, which was an inside job. It was staged. And people are supposed to forget. People are supposed to forget about that.
That's the correlation, is that our world is staged right now. That's the propaganda machine. Everything is a fucking staged, false flag, inside job. Everything's planned. It's so interesting, right? We're leaving the cross of planning, and the amount of planning from these manipulative forces are at an all-time high. Like, really trying to hold on and get that plan underway. Keep it running, if you will.
Well, I think we should do the bomb drop.
Bomb drop. You ready for the bombs? They're dropping.
All right. Here we go. Buckle your seatbelts. So we all know that August 31st coming in, right, was a week before the Mercury retrograde on September 9th, 9 days prior. And we all know that the FDA authorized the new booter, the new update to your software in your DNA.
New meta update.
That has not been tested on humans and was tested on 8 mice. Right?
Just 8.
Just 8.
That's all you need.
So that week of 1984, that was 5 days of 7 planets retrograde, it was kind of like, now we're in 6. But it was really interesting to see this story exactly a week prior. Did you know on April 23rd of 1984, while there were 6 planets retrograde, just like we're in now, this is when AIDS virus was disclosed and a premature promise made. The discovery of the virus responsible for causing acquired immune deficiency syndrome, or AIDS, is announced. Margaret Heckler, President Reagan's Secretary of Health and Human Services, Heckler's announcement came with the tantalizing prospect that an effective squirt of a fucking needle for AIDS might be only a few years away. She later admitted she had made a serious error, right? Because that was detrimental to people. She had made a serious miscalculation, essentially promising the shot. She claimed to have made the forecast based on what she had been told by the NIH virologist Robert Gallo. Gallo was considered for a time the foremost expert of the fatal syndrome, although his reputation was tarnished by allegations that he had falsified data in order to beat a French rival to the claim of having discovered the AIDS virus. Now, I want to show people a video about this, so we're actually going to do something we haven't done before here. We're going to show you a video.
It's movie time.
And
high vibe.
Give it. We'll be watching with you, but it's 3 minutes long, and I want you all to think of the energy that we're in now, right? Like, okay, with this, and remember that it was 6 planets. The last time that we could have had 6 planets retrograde at this high of an extreme energy source right now, with the nodes pretty much in the same.
Basic,
same.
Same.
I mean, it was Gemini, but it was good. We just went through that at the beginning of this year. We went from Gemini node into Taurus node. So this was the end of Gemini node going into Taurus.
And it was really happening with the nodes in those places anyways. You know?
So let us know what you think, and we'll be back in here. And will not let me turn on Media 3 here.
Don't you do it from the other computer?
Yeah, it won't unless I could. Yeah, it won't let me show media.
I will hit play.
If you could hit play, please. And we'll watch with you all in the corner here.
Scientists at the National Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta today released the results of a study which shows that the lifestyle of some male homosexuals has triggered an epidemic of a rare form of cancer. Robert Bazell now in Atlanta.
Bobby Campbell of San Francisco and Billy Walker of New York both suffer from a mysterious newly discovered disease which affects mostly homosexual men, but has also been found in heterosexual men and women. The condition severely weakens the body's ability to fight disease. Many victims get a rare form of cancer called Kaposi sarcoma. Others get an infection known as pneumocystis pneumonia. Researchers know of 413 people who have contracted the condition in the past year. 1/3 have died and none have been cured. The best guess is that some infectious agent is causing it. Today, researchers here at the National Centers for Disease Control said they had found several cases where people who had been sex partners both had the condition. The scientists say this probably means they are dealing with some new, deadly, sexually transmitted disease.
The probable cause of AIDS has been found.
This is what the HTLV3 virus looks like, magnified thousands of times, clumped on the edge of a white blood cell it's invaded. Still closer, an individual virus, showing its dense center that distinguishes it from other viruses. Gallo says a blood test for HTLV3 will be ready in 6 months. It could screen out virus carriers from blood donation programs, and it could at least tell a potential AIDS victim if he or she is carrying the virus.
Hudson died in his sleep at 9 this morning at his $3 million home in Beverly Hills. The actor had returned to his home in late August after having been told by doctors his health was too poor for any experimental therapy for AIDS. This was his last public appearance on July 15th of this year. Some publicity shots with Doris Day. At this point, he had known for a year he had AIDS. A week later, he flew to Paris for treatment, and the world knew it.
He died today. He was 18 years old. For the last 5 years, he lived with AIDS. He got it from a blood transfusion. He died in Indianapolis from an illness related to that disease. During his long struggle, Ryan White attracted nationwide attention and sympathy.
He had no bitterness. With an honest simplicity, his was the voice that many, if not most, first heard.
I became known as the AIDS boy.
Ryan at a Washington hearing 2 years ago.
It was my decision to live a normal life, go to school, be with friends, and enjoy day-to-day activities. It was not going to be easy.
Because of the HIV virus that I have attained, I will have to retire from the Lakers today.
Joe Frattini, Charles Schrader, Dick Scott, Robert Bobiolina Watson, Dan Bowers, Francis Brady, Jim Butcher.
Scientists at the National Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta today released the results of a study which shows that the lifestyle of some male homosexuals has triggered an epidemic of a rare form of cancer. Robert Bazell now in
Still
Atlanta.
playing. No, yeah, you were good. So, number one, did you all know that they were calling it cancer? Okay. Number two, they had just discovered it and we had figured it out and they were promising a shot. That video was literally when I found it on YouTube for that date that it was announced. And it did not go well. And did you see that poor kid? They called him the AIDS boy.
I was known at school as the AIDS boy.
He was known at school as the AIDS boy.
That was sad.
So, I don't know what to tell people. But I think that the biggest bombshell is the shot of death is fucking here.
Yeah. And it's coming with a Mars square Neptune.
And they have 170 million of these ordered. They are going to scare the bejesus out of people like they did in 84 with all that shit. Because if we think of the 84 transit, that was all those retrogrades and it was in Scorpio. And here we are getting ready into Scorpio eclipses. Mm-hmm. Pluto direct in Capricorn, ready to come into Aquarius. I mean, if you really think this is a retrograde cycle where they are planning, they got Queenie Reptilian out. Mm-hmm. They got King Charles up. That's always the chess move of World War III because it's always a king in power for world wars. You've got all the right pieces that they're doing right now with the retrograde that they already had preset. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And at a time where I really believe that with Mars square Neptune, we're going to be at the most susceptible we've ever been. Because I look at Neptune, Pisces, 12th house as being very susceptible. You know, there's no boundaries with this energy. And Mars being our bodies, our physical form in many ways. Like, I don't like it. I think it's all bad in square. And with Saturn square Uranus, tight. Like, that is the worst. Like, I thought the last one was a bad experiment, and that was kind of our last show, talking about experiments. This is the worst experiment ever.
Correct. This was the video that I showed people that it was discovered, and that was from the archives, and they said it was a cancer. I mean, like, that's like the weird part that I don't get. I hate that they always do this to me, but yeah, it's like showing that part of it just at the beginning, right? Like a cancer study. And then he says cancer. That's the weird, like, that's a really weird element of it to me, right?
I think the fact that we've already seen like the sudden adult death syndrome show up,
right,
was like a foreshadow in many ways. Like, not that it didn't happen, it's happening, but not to a level that potentially could happen.
Well, and the fact that we're in the same shit, and a week prior to, well, that was 6 Planet Retrograde, and here we are, and that's when they're announcing all over the world right now, we're going to give you this thing that's never been tested on humans. And then her biggest regret of Margaret Heckler was that she went on to express the hope that a shot would be developed within 2 years, which she regrets, right?
Does it say why she regrets it?
Well, because she promised this hope and it never happened, right? And it caused a lot of people to die, the people who took the experimental ones and the medications that they were trying at the beginning, who Fauci was in the middle of all that. And by the time that you were, you know what's crazy? It was like, I think it was People Magazine AIDS. Like, it was crazy that there was an actual like People Magazine, like, everybody will get it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the same
Sounds
way
familiar.
that they've been using the fear that you're gonna get CV and you're all gonna die and you're all gonna have to deal with this, you know. And there was also like an Oprah thing where she did a whole thing about it. Like, watch this, it's like crazy. It's like Oprah, I think it's 1986 or 7. I'll try 86 first. Maybe it was, if I remember right, it was like 1987. Yeah, it was like, this is where she told that everybody's going to get it, and talk about equality, that we're all going to get it, and right? And AIDS activism, and that, like, everybody being afraid of it. Look at it, like, you know, like, are we going to fall for this bullshit again?
I think at this point, most of us are not, but I think where it's going to be really difficult for people is they're still going to have loved ones in their family or loved ones that they care about, people in their lives that are going to fall for it. And I think that's going to be the hardest part, is trying to pull these people out. And it's not, you know, kind of like a redo of the last couple of years. And that's scary in itself. And I think we have to let people make their own decisions, of course, but, you know, definitely try to present them information and let them make a decision. But I think that's the hardest part, because I would say most people watching this information get it. So
in 1987, I was right. The Oprah Winfrey Show did a groundbreaking program called AIDS in America that humanized the AIDS epidemic. But 23 years later, in countless segments on the subject, including the rising HIV rates in women and communities of color, Oprah still has a lot to learn. She was attempting to compliment Bridget on how healthy she looked by saying, "You look at people like Magic Johnson, you realize that they can live a healthy, happy, long life." This is what is coming up next year into Pluto Aquarius, is using Meghan Markle, any of these weird fucking people that are popping out that are going to be like star like people, and they're going to be putting on people who got shots. And I'm not talking about just this new one, all of them, and be like, but you know, it's okay, because most of us got it, and you're, look at so-and-so. They've been doing so well. You look strong like them. That's what her segment was.
I could see that coming back around.
Especially if you think of 87 is the year after 86, which was 6 planets retrograde. Or 7, but 6 too. So if you think of what comes following the years is always this is why this happened. We weren't thinking straight.
2023.
Like, you know what I mean? But Bridget didn't want to hear any of that. She interrupted Oprah and proceeded to make that experience a teachable moment for Oprah. Not everybody, she explained, has access to cutting edge treatment. Like, look at Magic Johnson. He obviously got it in the 80s and has no trace of it in his system.
Right. And they were saying that it was, only transferred similar to what they're saying now about monkeypox.
Right.
Through homosexuality. And Magic Johnson, wasn't.
Yeah, that was the woman right here. She went to a tiny town and had that talk. So a guy who tested positive took a dip in a local swimming pool.
Huh.
And then they created the fear, the panic, and the rumors. They said the same thing about monkeypox just recently.
Oh,
about a guy in a swimming pool. But then the other thing that's been happening is a bunch of doctors in Canada have been going to swimming pools and dying who got the shot. Right? It's been like a common thing. They're at the family with their pool, dead.
Yeah. Swimming is extreme cardio.
Yeah. Well, and they're with the sun, which we also looked. I know we're going to jump around, but when we looked up that April of 1984, one of the biggest events that happened.
Oh, the solar flare.
Was the solar flare, and
yeah, that's an interesting correlation just because we're getting.
We'll just do 1984.
Absolutely beaten with solar flares right now.
1984 is the only year where, when it comes to Wikipedia, you have to look below George Orwell, too. That's what's very weird. And it was the 7 fucking planet retrograde that was probably the most intense of all time. But how funny, that was also the year Steve Jobs launches the Macintosh computer. But it was in April, and booyah, 24th, the AIDS virus is announced, and the same way they announced COVID, right, with the spike protein, and here we've got it magnetized. You can see it. We magnified it so you can see it.
Look how it attaches.
And look at how it attaches.
Yeah.
And doing the whole same thing of the spike and showing the spike and all this shit. Are people that stupid? I know we're already all the way in and people fell for it, but that's why, it's just at a point to where it's now I would think we're both trying to just save people from whatever's left of saving at this point. To not be so stupid.
Or at least make anybody who didn't do that stupid thing for any reason in life, family, job, whatever the fuck, in this reality tried to make you do something that silly to yourself. Just know that they made the right choice.
Yeah, and this was a big event. The April 24th, an X-class solar flare erupts from the sun. We can use that 7 citation, features and events, right here from Astro. So Ronald Reagan was airborne over the Pacific Ocean en route to the People's Republic of China on April 24th, when an angry outburst from the sun severed all shortwave communication to and from Air Force One.
It's a big deal.
Right after the whole AIDS thing gets announced, the day after, you don't think that's a coincidence? You try to put out a dark shit, the universe comes back with a fuck you. I bet you the day that they announced the first shot of the new Omicron not tested on humans, a fucking solar flare.
Would not be surprised one bit.
As the plane's radio fell silent, the commander-in-chief, suspended 7 miles high somewhere between Fiji and Midway, found himself unable to send or receive messages. For a period of several hours, the great communicator, as Reagan had been dubbed by the press, was cut off from the rest of the world. by a star 93 million in distance. Although this period of presidential isolation ended without mishap, it created some harrowing moments for Air Force One specialists charged with keeping the president in constant communication with military commanders back home. That's why we've been talking, I've been saying for 10 years. Every fucking out there. I have all my receipts. You can type in the Leo King solar flares on YouTube and look at videos from me fucking 10 years ago. The American military made it right. So what did we learn here? This page will like sunspots. Like this is where we are. I just did this with Natalie on Thursday on High Vibe, that we are in the most heightened period when we shouldn't be. The peak is 2025 in this cycle, and we're already peaking out right now where they're like, we've never seen this before. The lies are getting so intense on the planet that the sun is retaliating, and it's going to retaliate and say, all right, how about I just knock out everything?
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised.
And then that affects people who've got the shot because it's a fucking system that...
You know, I wonder if it would save people that got it. If there's a 5G correlation to that mechanism, if that all got knocked down by a solar flare or something, if that would be God intervening.
The metallics and the metals that are in people from it, and the fucking
but
the
if
graphene,
that's not getting activated by some frequency, it makes me wonder.
It's
maybe.
a bigger frequency.
Definitely just
though.
a question. I don't know.
It's a bigger frequency that knocks those frequencies out. So
yeah, that frequency is way bigger.
That if you're not in a natural space, that's what it's always been talked about with solar flares. That's why people get anxiety if you look at the side effects. So here, we'll look at side effects from... This is what CV has been the whole time. And also what other things are. Look at, these are the number one things if people type in side effects right now on Google. These are not my things. This is just what number one. So the idea that the general public right now is feeling normal and everything's good about all this shit, the first things that pop up when I type in side effects right now on Google is of shingles vax, of COVID vax, of Precedone, of Paxlovid, and of gabapentin. Anxiety med, after getting CV, fucking viral fucking med, steroids, the CV shot, and the shingles vaccine. Uh-oh, America, world.
Is that basically what the monkeypox vaccine is too? Is the
shingles? It's the shingles,
vaccine?
yeah.
Right. Gosh, who would have thought?
Look at outspace.com. So-called killer flares do not exist, and although solar flares can significantly disrupt the technological, they don't contain enough energy to do any lasting damage to Earth itself. Well, yeah, that's true, but not to our grids and not to humans. Look at this. Although eruptions can damage satellites, power infrastructure, and we are electromagnetic beings, they do not harm people. How funny. Health.com actually goes into it. Whether these large eruptions of radiation from the sun can cause possible health effects is a subject of debate.
Just wear your sunscreen. You'll be fine.
Right? They take a couple days to get here, but like a kill shot would be a lot faster and a lot more intense. So here's from the Access Journal of Biomedical report. Not everyone has been convinced solar flares are completely harmless. This area of science dedicated to investigation the connections between human health and solar activity is called heliobiology. A variety of health issues may be caused. So disturbed geomagnetic activity can also exacerbate existing diseases, which if you got the shot, that's been exacerbating already those. And it's correlated with significant increases in cardiac arrhythmia, cardiovascular disease, incident of myocardial infarction-related death, alterations in blood flow, increased blood pressure, and epileptic seizures.
God, it almost sounds like they took vaccine side effects and said they were solar flare side effects.
That's what I'm trying to say. And even if you look at what CV is, it's not like a, they call it a coronavirus, but more people are showing that it's a vascular virus, that in an inflammation one, and one that does affect your heart and your blood.
Well, I think it's
the
interesting
most.
The correlation that corona is
the sun and the heart. I know.
mean, Fuck.
Right? So, and in the journal Stroke, found a link between geothermal storms and stroke risk among people in New Zealand, Australia, and the United Kingdom. That's why they have intercepted charts, because they're so high and so below, away from the equator, that's where, especially after the plasma and all the solar flares and the northern lights and the southern lights, it gathers around those countries, and that's why they have intercepted charts, and that's why they speak a certain language, and their teeth are a certain way, and they look a certain way. And they get hit the most. So it's one of those things where I'm like, I can't believe they're preparing again. I've never seen this before. I've been doing this work for over a decade, and this was never here before. And there was never this whole like space, like don't worry about it, even though they're worried about it in general, just about the whole world.
I don't think there's any use in worrying about it, so I'll agree with them there. There's not a whole lot we can do about when the sun decides to shoot a flare at us.
Yeah, but that's not their reasoning. Their reasoning is that they say that it's impossible to affect you and your...
that's a lie.
That's a lie. It's a lie.
Clearly.
Right?
I agree with the don't worry about it. Like,
and I get, and somebody put in the chart, they have an intercepted chart. I mean, a lot of people do, but
they're super common.
You can have one not be that high north or high south, but it really depends on the time you were born and the way that the ecliptic basically is.
Sometimes I'll pull up a chart here in Huntington Beach for a time, and it'll be
there'll be like little moments, But I mean,
right now Cancer's intercepted in the 12th house.
Exactly. That's why some people might think we're heartless emotionally right now about doing this, but.
Not very nurturing and comfortable, are we?
Especially with the moon leaving Aries right now. But I just think that it's interesting that if you really think of like, if I could give you, let's actually find a fucking, here, Washington Times, solar flare. The sun touches our psyche. Maybe it's time to wear tinfoil on our heads with high electromagnetic activity. This was during the Pluto-Uranus square and all that crazy shit. Of our human electromagnetic fields may start glowing. Even if we do not begin in consenting, scientists have noted correlations between solar flares and moods. Right? The Institute of North, right? And every peak matched an increase in anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, and suicide in the city of Kirovsk. One explanation of the correlation is that solar storms desynchronize our circadian rhythm, biological clock. The pineal gland in our brain is affected by the electromagnetic activity. Oh, that's a real study. I mean, fuck.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's helped unlock people's pineal glands.
Yeah, but if you have a shot in there that's blocking all that and affects your blood. You see what they said? That's exactly what's happening to people. So you think the kill shot would be from the sun?
No.
Good? It would be horrible. That's their plan.
Obviously.
That's their biggest plan. That's the one I don't like to say to people, is that they've set you up for when the kill shot comes from the sun.
Yeah, they know.
I can't imagine. That's the big fucking red herring, is that it's the idea of kill shot being the shot itself, right? The kill shot will be that we call the kill shot from the sun.
Yeah,
but people who have something in their body that creates that to happen exactly the same way, that's how they get rid of everybody. And they already know that the peak is 2025.
Of course they do.
They already know that this is the cycle that's way crazier, because if you look at the 12,000 year cycles that Dylan and I looked at last week,
I think they know it all. I mean, if we're talking about reptiles, reptilian energy being part of this like world order and the power that be, or if we're talking about whether it's high, Freemason energy, people like to go there. It's people that know the occult and they know the greater scheme of things. These beings are not stupid. 100%. I believe they know that there's cycles that are happening right now and things are coming, and they'll try and keep you doing your mundane, go to work, be a slave routine and not pay attention to it, to manipulate, of course, but 100% they know, in my opinion.
Yeah, I know. And I know that people are like, oh, don't be afraid. I'm not telling people to be afraid. No. But I mean, I would just be like,
just be informed.
Be informed. And again, I will say it again. There are people out there right now who are literally in Texas. You can go search for it. There are a bunch of doctors who have created facilities for you to go, and they have found ways to remove as much of that shit out of your body as possible, because it doesn't go away. It doesn't go away.
Thing I did if I participated in that.
Like, gosh, I have to do this, even though I did this on... I did it with Natalie last week.
Yeah, you should.
I mean, this is why people are on high vibe, but like, yo, I'm going to show you all what's going down. And, you know, I hate to do this. I don't hate to do this. I want to do this, but it's, here we go. I'm going to do it. So when any of y'all who got that thing, okay, they told you, this was originally on the site for the CDC, right? That the mRNA and the spike protein do not last long in the body, that our cells break down it. Well, they got rid of this part a couple months after. Scientists estimate that the spike protein, like other proteins in our bodies create, may stay in the body up to a few weeks. Oh, they got rid of that. Then they went to that our cells break it down. Then they got rid of that. Oh, they don't break them down. They stay in your body. Oh, they do not affect or interact with our DNA at all. Like, they enter the nucleus of the cell where the DNA genetic material is located, so it cannot change or influence our genes. Oh, wait, let's not fucking show them that anymore. So that is all that they give you now. What's going to be the last thing that they pull away from the site? Do not cause any live virus, or that it cannot cause infection with the virus that causes it?
Probably both.
Bye-bye.
Man, that list got small.
That list got small. I like how they show, like, look at, like, right there, like, look at that, like, Stalin and all of his people. Just Stalin.
He's not around anymore.
I have one more too, but here, this is the stuff you guys need to get on high vibe. But I don't know what to say. It's not a safe environment anymore where you can't speak truth. I have the balls to do it on my channel all the time. Look at my Instagram. I can't go live. I can't fucking get tagged. I'm not afraid to show you what they're showing you right now, but if you show this shit, people fucking, it's crazy. This is UC Berkeley, August 30th. What are they doing this season for you? Masks are required for flu season if you're not vaccinated for the flu. Vaccinated for the flu? I thought you just took a flu shot. Now you get vaccinated for the flu? Okay.
Wow. The flu now, which is COVID anyway.
And I already made a big prediction that they're going to use the same technology for flu shots. And they've already been saying that in the last week. Like, they're like, the doctor fucking at the White House is like, oh, God gave us two arms, one for the flu shot, one for the COVID shot.
I wouldn't trust any
right now. Oh my God.
That they're trying to put in your body.
This is the most fucking heinous, craziest shit we've ever seen in our lives. And I mean, it's not like anything new, but I feel like there's people who hate me that still watch my channel. And they still get all weird, and they're like, they want to hear. I want to hear him try and show something. And it's like, oh, fuck. At this point, I think I have one more thing, if I can find it. It's fucking gnarly, though. Like, we're at a fucking scary moment here.
It is. It's all gnarly. Especially whatever they're trying to put in your body. They don't tell you what's in it. Don't do it.
No, they don't.
Even if they said they told you, you should probably ask a question.
I mean, I showed this with Dylan, or maybe it was with you last week, but I think it was with Dylan, or maybe, it was with Dylan. Like, we're at the genocide moment.
Yeah, I remember that. And how 7, 8, 9 are coming.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you divide us into us and them, the vaxxed, the unvaxxed. You force them to identify that they have one. You begin to face systematic discrimination. You can't come into a restaurant. You can't do that. People equated with animals, vermin, or diseases. Oh, you can spread COVID and all these people. If you literally didn't let your daughter or your son or your family member or your friend come to your Thanksgiving or Christmas because you said that they needed to have a shot, you are fucking a Nazi. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you're the dirty, like, fucking, like, crazy shit we tried to fucking, like, overcome and bring fucking peace on earth. If you did that, or anybody you know did that, they are part of genocide.
It's manipulated evil.
Yeah.
Which sucks because they didn't even know they were.
And all the astrologers, most of them in that main community did that.
Blows my mind.
I know. I don't even want to like leak drama right now because Mercury retrograde. But let's just say your like little astrology podcast guy wouldn't let certain people over to his house unless they had it. Think he's a fucking good guy? With all his Scorpio? Podcast of the year. Fuck. Jesus Christ. What a fucking piece of shit. I have no problem saying that. Like, he should apologize to the world one day. People, you know, the government creates specific groups to enforce the policies. They've already done that. The government broadcasts, this is what Biden did a week and a half ago. This is what Kamala Harris did on Sunday during 9/11. To get everybody in the populace to turn against the group. And then we're seeing it with social media shit. And then the official action to remove and relocate people, which we're already kind of seeing in Trump world, but now they're going to start moving it in other areas. And then that's when you start seeing the beginning of murder, theft of property, and trial massacres. And then the wholesale elimination of the group. It's extermination, not murder, because the people are not considered human. But could this inverse with Pluto and Aquarius, where they're going to say, you're not human, you have the shot, you're transhuman?
Mm-hmm.
That's the scary part, is it could go that direction.
It likely will.
But I will not be part of that.
There's no fucking way.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm more afraid of, is that the people think, oh my God, they're going to come after people who don't have it. I think they're going to try and exterminate everybody that does have it.
Yeah.
That's
how that works. Like, right? Like,
yeah.
They try. Didn't that happen with Mussolini?
I mean, yeah. I mean, more Stalin, but
or Stalin, right? Because they put people into those places and people listened to him, and those were the people he cut because they were weak.
Yeah, they were weak. He was like, I don't want you guys around. You guys got me into power and let me fucking take over. Like, thanks, but no thanks. I don't want you weak people around. You guys can go out in the wheat fields. And that was the journalist from the UK, from England, who went into Moscow and then fucking broke through and went out like way out in the country and and he reported and took the biggest risk of his life and started reporting and seeing that they were just genocide everywhere. They were just killing people everywhere in those wheat fields. Anybody who was old or anybody who couldn't do it. And that's why they put the wheat everywhere with Stalin's picture, that he was creating the communist, way, like we were going to be a successful country because we were going to feed everybody. And it was only Moscow. That was a nice city. Everywhere else was fucking famine.
Right.
It was horrible. And that became before World War II. Like, a lot of people don't realize that was in the 20s. Or if you see the food shortages now or what they're doing, or, look at how the Queen and all this bullshit, people are falling for the psyop of that because the Queen was so gracious and she was such a nice lady, that like all of that's falling with her, when really that's not the Queen. She's been gone.
I think so. Because
it's the perfect chess pieces with Ukraine and everything, and the way Meghan Markle, all that's a psyop too. All of it's a psyop. All of it's a preset, and you can see the chess pieces all just moved into the fucking right position. And I know people are screaming faith, not fear. That's what all the people said fucking that got murdered in the USSR. I hate to be the bearer of that news.
Keep the faith, but action.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you just can't just like, you know how many people in fucking Poland were like, oh, it'll be okay.
Watching the train go by.
Watching the train, but more importantly, just watching the Nazis take over and fucking bomb the shit out of them and fucking pillage and run through that whole entire country. Or the keep the faith in France while Hitler took it over and threw a general in charge of that place, and fucking people in the streets. By the time that fucking they finally knew that the Allies had taken over, it became blood in the streets. It was horrible. People don't even remember the craziness of France coming back online. It was not a very freedom like loving moment. There was blood all over the streets. It was horrible. I think that people really need to pay attention to the astrology, but more importantly, the connection to the history, and to stop being in this like, it's just gonna all be okay. Like, you know, like that's like drinking a whole bottle of poison and being like, you know what, be faithful, it's gonna be okay. Like at that point, it's more like the opposite with Mars and Gemini. It's like, the facts are we need to get to a poison facility right now. The facts are that we need to fucking get you milk or whatever the poison control center says, and we'll have the faith, but let's fucking...
Right. Otherwise, you're just in paralysis.
Correct.
You're not helping yourself
right?
or the collective.
The idea that people think that they weren't injected with poison is crazy.
I know.
Like, and just, I'm going to keep the faith that the poison didn't work on me. Well, people are just not waking up. And that's the irony, is that we talk in the spiritual community about waking up, right? So much. That's the weird part of it, is that we're in a weird moment right now where people literally are not waking up. They took it. They're not waking up. They're normal. I just saw another fucking huge celebrity just fucking, that an F1 racer who's young, who just fucking, they said, well, he had fucking appendix surgery, but now he went into cardiac arrest.
Mm-hmm.
That was just on TMZ on Twitter an hour ago. An F1 racer who's in his like 20s. So, I mean, are we at the point to where we're just going to keep denying all the sports stars that are dying, the young teenage boys in every high school that are dying right now, all the old people that are just dying randomly, all of it? Like, it's just like, you can keep the faith, but if you got it and you're just going to I'm going to be in the faith. Like Mars and Gemini is telling you now to run towards the place that is the environment where you can figure out to fix whatever the fuck it is.
Right.
This is definitely, you don't want to come into these eclipses.
It's better to do it now. It's like, if there was anything to do now, that's it. Because that Mars-Neptune square is going to suck. With the eclipse season, with Mars going retrograde and just sitting there, it's going to suck. Take care of your immune system now. Take care of your body now if you got that. Like, straight up. Like, don't wait for the solar flare. Don't wait for, whatever shows up. Like, action, faith, action over fear.
Yeah, because it's a little different. Like, right, I smoke. So, usually, like, it's like, okay, I admit, I know I'm rolling the dice. 50% chance I will die from smoking, and then a 50% chance that I won't. That's what the numbers are. That's the actual numbers, right? So I'm literally playing roulette. This kind of ties in our whole retrograde thing. So, but when that usually does happen, the numbers go into so many different places. If I got cancer, although it's kind of weird in my whole family line, nobody's got cancer except my mom. And she just had a very rare form of breast cancer that, thank God, it was super easy it was not an easy experience, don't get me wrong, but we were lucky that there was a treatment and she hasn't got it back, and it's been a long time now. But in my family, that's something that runs in my family. It's heart disease and all that stuff. So it's like, okay, I already know I'm playing with that. But it's like I have a lot of time, and at least at the end of the day, if I died of a heart attack, I'd be like, well, at least you know what? I had the knowing of that. It's the denial that is the worst.
Exactly. I think that makes a difference.
Makes a big difference
in the longevity of whatever you're doing, because we all choose to take whatever risk we choose. Like, just living is a risk, We don't know when our time's up. So we make little decisions to do certain things, but there's something about the awareness behind anything you're doing that I feel like really does change it a little bit. Like, if you just know, and there's something that energetically happens, it's almost like it's the ignorance that sneaks up on people where they're like, oh, fuck. At least it appears that way.
No, it's true. I think it's the ignorance that comes, and that's kind of the retrograde roulette wheel, where it's like, this is where in retrogrades you go, what's good and what's bad, especially that Mercury retrograded on Fortuna. Don't start gambling that you feel good now.
Yeah.
Because Fortuna changes the fortune fast.
Yeah, it looks like the wheel of a ship, like where the captain would steer, you know? Like sometimes there's some waves coming, sometimes you got to make a move, change course.
Right.
That's how fate works.
September 9th was the retrograde, right? So here we'll show people this. Because you're not on High Five, so you don't get to watch deep astrology. You can watch these TikTok astrologers and these fucking YouTube ones that fucking just like to fucking blog about their furniture moving and shit. Look at that. Mercury retrograded, stationed at 8:55 Libra on Fortuna at 8. That's the Wheel of Fortune. There it is. And it just spins. This is definitely not one where you just want to spin the wheel. Let's see if it's going to be okay. And then I want to tie that into, because you and I have talked about this in our horoscopes for the last year. It was in 1986, the last time we had a solar eclipse in Taurus. We missed the one 19 years ago. So we are in a 1986 where you need to pay the fuck attention. If you think about it that way, that this is a retrograde where you don't start fucking being like, everything's fine.
No.
Taurus is what's not natural. What's not natural. And that was 7 retrogrades. So, you know. And if I actually were to look at that, I bet you, like the way that he has that highlighted is he's trying to connect it to the 2016 stuff. But it's really interesting to me, though, that, you know, this is not the time, especially if we understand Fortuna. Right? It represents the Wheel of Fortune. Fortuna mythology determined if a person's luck would be good or bad, or a bit of both. Since Fortuna is the one who spins the wheel of fortune, you're literally roulette. You're in a roulette wheel. I think I'll be okay. I think I'll be, and with North Node Uranus conjunct, with Saturn squaring it, I think I'll be okay. Don't let the shatter reality hit you. Like,
especially when you don't have to.
Like this is the retrograde where you really pay attention to your inside and go, what's off? I've talked to lots of people who got it, and they all tell me that, you know, I kind of scare them, but they say that, you know what? I didn't want to watch because I didn't want to know. And that's always right? But the fact that they know and they went and sought help, because some of it is like you could get like a Zoom call with the doctors, like, and they tell you to do these things that they've been seeing working for others, of how to at least. But that's what's crazy is, like, you know, we're talking about DNA here and altercations, and we're talking about something that's not leaving the system ever and reproducing in the body constantly. It's not one and gone. Like, they've made you to think in the world. I just showed you the CDC taking away all that, right? So if I and people think that I'm like wishing bad fortune upon them. It's like, no, I'm trying to get you out of going through bad fortune. You know, like,
it's almost like people are reaching their hand out and stopping the wheel at bankrupt.
Yeah, I mean, Jessica Adams, I think I used this one on, it's Latin for luck. I turn about my wheel with speed and take a pleasure to turn things upside down. Ascend if thou wilt. Ascend if thou wilt. Are you going to balance out this shit? Are you going to find some harmony? Are you going to, like, find the person in life that could help you through these kind of times?
Like, you can get back in alignment.
Like, one translation reads, "It is my belief that history is a wheel. Inconsistency is my very essence," says the wheel. "Rise up my spokes if you like, but don't complain when you are cast down in the depths. That's where Mercury is retrograded in the middle of 6 planets retrograde, which we already are showing you is extremely fucking rare. So are you really going to play Russian roulette with fucking your life and everything right now? Are you really going to play Russian roulette?
In the most rare time.
Like, I'm not making, like, these things are not made up, or they're not like, they're not meant to just be clickbait shit. They're meant to like really go like, I'm not fucking bullshitting you. I showed you Mercury retrograde at Fortuna. But did your TikTok astrologer tell you that? No. Did they go through this? I went through this on High Vibes. So some High Vibers are, why am I subscribed if you're going to show this? Well, it's a life or death situation for people at this moment. So I hope High Vibers get it.
You got it first.
Yeah, and you got it way first. You're already a week ahead of people. And it's not like I'm giving them the whole thing. I'm just like, I care about humanity. And I don't want people to fucking start fucking, good times pass away, but then so do the bad. Mutabilities are tragedy, but is also our hope. Our tragedy is our hope. The worst of times, like the best, are always passing away. Fortuna makes philosophers of us. It can also show us how absurd life is.
That's for sure.
Right? Because of its inconsistency. We have to be philosophical about it, just as we have to be philosophical about the constant inconsistency of life, or your body, or your liver, or especially your kidneys, Libra, kidneys, and how it's dealing with the processing of the blood. But, people don't want to, or it's just like the end, it's like the Romeo and Juliet. No, it's going so good, and then we're going to kill ourselves and everything will be fine. Bad move. So, it's, you're the one who came up with the roulette analogy, like the retrograde roulette. And it's crazy because I feel like you channeled so much of it's North Node Uranus, it's Mercury retrograde on Fortuna. I mean, it's not like, and I looked at all those other charts for when we were in 6 and 7 planets retrograde, and Fortuna was not near Mercury retrograde or not on any of the planets that were retrograde. This one is a whole different beast.
This adds to the rarity.
This adds to the rarity that it's Mercury retrograde on Fortuna and that it's North Node in Uranus, which is like a wheel of fortune in itself. So it's like you're gambling. You're gambling. And the fact that it happened with Mars in direct, this is, okay, I'm giving away another part of deep astrology. Lucifer at 11 Sag exactly opposing Mars while it's on Archangel Michael in heaven against Lucifer in hell on Antares. I mean, I don't know what to tell people, but this is where the dark and the light are at their biggest fucking war. And that's what you're feeling.
And that's what we were talking about last week too, is like, it's a war up there, just like it's a war here.
As above, so below. And that doesn't mean planetary. That also means spiritually. And in spirit's world, I think that the crazy part about it is people are saying, just hope. That's what the devil wants you to do. Hope it'll be okay.
Yeah, it's interesting that
that's how the devil works, right? Like it's all going to be okay.
Just
you
believe.
Can, you know what? Just sin one more time. Just sin one more time. It's okay.
Fine.
Just keep sinning and just hope that it'll be fine and believe it'll be fine.
Just keep it
right. That's what the church did, and that the church is demonic. The Catholic Church, the Church of England, all the churches are demonic because they have you suck yourself into a belief system that's the way to go without looking and having questions or looking at facts or at least being willing to accept truth. Because the truth is Christianity and all these churches have lied to you more than any other government, more than any other system in all of our lives. And that goes for Buddhism and all these other systems. That they are all the biggest, like veganism to fucking all these things are all Luciferian, dark fucking shit that capture you to where you're not doing your own environmental analysis. And that's why Archangel Michael and the heavens sit in from Sirius to Aldebaran and to that 0 Gemini spot. And it kind of bleeds into the end of Taurus there. That's the heavens. They say Dante stars in the heavens, you know, and somewhere middle, from what I've gathered from the old evidence, is somewhere middle of Taurus, which now with the south node being, or the north node being out of that, means that we're out of that heaven. That I hate to say it, but I feel like people are at a...
I think it could be, we could be at the point where people actually miss the boat. And it is what it is. It's almost like a line.
I mean, I already feel like we're already there, yeah.
Yeah.
If you think of 6 planets retrograde, or you think of the AIDS thing, right, with all those planets retrograde, and then they came out and they were like, 443 people and right? And it was like people just started buying the sauce and buying the whole thing and telling everybody that they were going to get it, and then they weren't. Like think of the... That's why I don't even feel comfortable going to a hospital right now. If I had to get a blood transfusion, are they using the blood of the people who got the shot?
Fuck. Rough.
If 8% of people in America got it, 7 out of 10 people, right, is like another way to look at it, is what they're saying. 7 out of 10 people got it. Well, all the blood they're getting from people, they're just like recycling the blood of people who got fucking crazy shit.
That sucks.
And that's how that boy died in this transit.
It was a blood transfusion.
It was a blood transfusion.
Yeah, it's fucking
So
sad.
you think you're safe in this world right now and want to just be hopeful? Do you think that we're at a place where people are actually doing their due diligence and being like, yeah, we're saving only people who didn't get its blood, when already they've been screaming through the pandemic, we need your blood?
Well, wasn't it Biden who said, you know, if you didn't get the shot, you don't deserve a hospital bed?
Right. Or it was Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh, it was Jimmy Kimmel. That's right.
Which that was the exact year date that I showed on. What was on that?
Was that on Full Disclosure?
I think it was on Full Disclosure, where I said Jimmy Kimmel unvaccinated hospital.
But that's one of the things that's been like the biggest piece of advice that I've been trying to give people right now.
There we go.
Is that there is like a line drawn, and then you mentioned the Dante stars, and we are kind of out of that with the North Node moving through it. Like there's no saving people right now. I feel like that's kind of one of the things, is like the people that stayed, that we can't save them right now. That's not to say that it won't maybe come back around again, but like right now, for this moment of what's coming, it's like, don't even waste your time. Like it's
What's even weirder in the last fucking 2 weeks is ivermectin now is on the fucking NIH site as treatments to use.
When that was banned.
When that was banned, yeah. Now you right. So Jimmy Kimmel is double fucked on this, and this was September 8th, 2021, when he went on his show, right? And he goes, "That choice seems tough to me. Vaccinated person having a heart attack? Yes, come right in. We'll take care of you. Unvaccinated guy who gobbled horse goo? Rest in peace, Wheezy." That's the dark.
Big time.
And anybody who is following this route, you were part of it.
Sorry.
Whether you want to own, you can't. If you can't own that and be like, I wasn't part of it. I just wanted to save my job. That's what gave him the ammo to attack other people in your fucking collective and threw them into that. I hate to be that guy, but you have to own that. You have to own that. And I'm not saying that you have to do anything else except at least admit it in yourself. Like, I was stupid and I can't believe I own that. And I allowed this shit to keep popping up because that's what you did. Like, I don't know what to tell people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what you did. And they're about to do it all over again. But they don't order 170 million shots of a new fucking thing unless they're going to try and go pump that full of a country with only 330 million people. They're hitting those 60% numbers, 70% numbers again. And they're going to find some way to do it. Remember, you're talking about a guy, a president who said he wouldn't mandate it. You're talking about Dr. Fauci who wouldn't mandate it. You're saying Rochelle Walkowski would not fucking mandate it. Oh, they mandated it.
Sure did. Sure tried.
You don't think they're going to try and do some weird shit again? You don't think that they're gonna fucking take the monetary system down and be like, you don't get money unless you fucking have got this?
Yep.
You really just gonna stay hopeful? That won't happen. Just how I was hopeful, like, well, at least Biden's saying that, even though I know he's propped up. Didn't win an election. At least he's saying that. And then I fucking told people it's shadow reality though in 2020. I was like, I don't think so. And so many of you motherfuckers out there on my YouTube fucking left high vibe and said I was wrong. I was right. And fucking, you don't think like, look like, and people still fucking follow this guy fucking. He added, we still have a lot of pandimwits out there. Don't worry, Jimmy Kimmel is alive and well with a big smile because he's proud.
Gross.
But you know what? A lot of people were that way.
Yes, they were.
I mean, it's fucking crazy that as doctors and public health officials have repeated warning against ivermectin, now it's on their fucking treatment. And that's what fucking India did.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have anything like we did.
Anybody who hopped on that did just fine.
These are the same people telling you that the election wasn't rigged and that you're a fucking terrorist. These are the same people telling you. So do you, which side do you have to pick a side at this point? You know, I think this retrograde is all about also what side you pick in life. Because I noticed with retrograde people who have a lot of retrogrades, they pick their side.
Yeah.
People who have everything direct don't pick a side really well. So when you're in a retrograde, you see enough to where you're like, I am going to position myself on the beach this way because I've now seen how the shells come when the tide comes out. I'm going to position my boat this way because I've seen. Because it's
more self-focused.
Exactly.
Yeah. So these people have more self-awareness in a sense. It can be harder and sometimes dealing with the outer, but they have more of that self-awareness that they'll actually do what they need to do for themselves. Where direct, you might be too focused on what Jimmy Kimmel tells you should do to be a good person.
I mean, it's like that story's just one of a million.
Right. They're all over.
Where if you just look at the last, ever since even the fact of them trying to impeach Trump and then they did impeach a president who's not a president anymore. It's impossible, stupid. But they did. So,
they'll probably try and impeach him again.
But that's what I'm saying is like, and they're at a fucking, you're going to believe the people that are telling you that on the January 6th commission and all this shit where the people in fucking Wyoming didn't vote for fucking Liz Cheney at all to come back there because they know she's lying. The people know, a lot more people know. But there's still a good fucking amount of people out there that are fucking lost in this sauce. And they're believing the people who've lied to their face the whole entire last year and a half nonstop on the most craziest issues. Just don't even try and bring me a Trump lie, like compared to this. Like, this is lying to the world. This is lying to the citizens of a country. We will not mandate something on you, that it's safe and effective, and then pulling the fucking, oh, well, it won't stay in your system. Oh, hold on, let's pull that away. No, yeah, you are going to have to get it to keep your job and to do this and da-da-da-da-da, and that you're not a good American if you don't do that. And fucking, how many more lies? How many, oh, yeah, you know what? This is safe. It's been tested on 8 mice.
Absolutely ridiculous.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
That and told people, you're good. 8 mice.
8 mice.
You're fine. We 8 of them, they died.
I mean, this is like,
we tested it.
This is like kindergarten, the boy who cried wolf shit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry to say, but the fucking Biden administration and all the people connected with that, Trudeau, fucking all the EU, fucking like all of them are all the biggest liars on the fucking planet who have cried wolf so many fucking times and are fucking supporting the same thing about Ukraine. You really think they're all getting their ass? You know, it's karma. Putin owns Zelensky. Zelensky's feeding the money and all this shit, and they're propping this whole thing up. And they're going to be the biggest laughingstock when they go, oh, yeah, thanks. Thanks for everything. and you made our economy strong. You gave us all the weapons.
And you're all weak.
You're all weak. This is so USSR, how you do it. And fucking, they're so dumb. And everybody's like, yeah, these people are helping us. The fucking Republicans took away abortions. It's like, no, they didn't. They didn't.
They didn't.
They didn't. The Supreme Court didn't take it away. People were just
state might have
following
took
that
it
because they
away.
were like, I don't know if I want to go battle that case in the Supreme Court. If it's not an amendment, if it's not in the Constitution, it's not a right. The idea that it's a right. I understand because I'm for abortion. I'm just saying it's not a written law right. So fucking, the idea that a constitutional, republic, a republic that is one based upon individual state rights, it's not based off, the way they never say republic and they say democracy is not what we live in. We live in a republic democracy, which is different. It's the republic first. It's based off a very basic constitution and a lot of freedom. And a lot of freedom to do what individual state, what country out of the 50 do you want to live in? It's not this one size fits all except for the main Bill of Rights. Period. That those Bill of Rights, but now those Bill of, you're more worried about abortion than you are freedom of speech. You're more worried about fucking abortion than the Second Amendment of carrying a gun to protect yourself from the fucking bad people in the government who are trying to force you to do shit with your health. You're putting all these other things in front of the things that were number one first. That's crazy. And this moment is fucking even scarier crazy that we're about to head into with Pluto direct. Once it happens on October 8th, I'm telling you, it's less than a month away. We have 6 retrograde planets right now. You really think shit's going to turn in a better direction right now? They've already set up all the chess pieces. You really believe the Queen died? You really believe the Queen died? On Mercury retrograde day? You really believe the Queen died on Mercury retrograde?
I don't.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to people who watch this. Like you really think with 6 planets retrograde and Mercury retrograde, the same way the week that built up to 6 planets retrograde, that there were 6 planets retrograde, is when they said this is AIDS and we're gonna have a vaccine and I don't know what to tell people. I think it's going to get fucking so crazy.
I agree.
Like when Mercury starts opposing Neptune and comes direct with 6 planets retrograde, holy fuck.
Yeah.
We are entering into a roulette wheel. And if you've got that shot, don't play the roulette wheel. Go get all the fucking care you can right now. And it won't be at a hospital. You're going to have to go search for people. Go look up all the doctors that are really into that. I definitely would go watch a bunch of videos from Brett Weinstein and his Dark Horse podcast and start getting in contact with those individuals. I'd get in contact with, that
Dr. Bradley Campbell on
There's
Instagram.
Bradley Campbell.
He's solid.
There's, I can't even remember his name right now because I'm just like thinking of the astrology and how gnarly it is that I'm like,
There's a lot of people out there that want to help. That's one thing too. There's a lot of good doctors out there that want to help.
Yeah, I would hit up Dr. Peter McCullough and his people and that he knows in his group. I mean, fuck. It's your life you're talking about here. You're lucky you made it to this point. Keep that luck going.
It is getting to that level of seriousness.
Yeah, because just with the solar flare stuff we showed, or where we're at with these crazy planetary aspects that are hitting us right now, and this rare retrograde, 6 planets retrograde right now, and one of them, I mean, it's not retrograde, but Mars is fucking about to retrograde. It is at half speed, less than half speed. It is fucking slowing down every day. Every second right now matters. Like the only thing for people that should matter right now is your environment, and especially you brought up in your lecture on Friday about people's immunity with that Mars squaring Neptune, that station. This is definitely not a time for Mars. When it's like being the fish, Neptune, fish out of water, like being stabbed like on a boat.
Very susceptible, especially if they amped up or ramped up any ingredients or whatever, like, oh God.
Or just think of the new iPhone that's coming out and how it's got satellites connected by November that you can be part of, where they're not going to be using, emergency services for you. They want to know where the people are going to pass away on a satellite. It's not about the emergency services that'll come to you.
No, there's always
They just want to know. They want to know much more targeted data of who's dying.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, you're in Wyoming. Wait, you're not even part of the fucking grid right now. Oh wait, there you are. And they're using Elon Musk's Starlink system, and he was the man of the year last year.
And that man of the year.
And the man of the year was Hitler in 38. But it's kind of weird.
He wants to put microchips in everybody's head.
Yeah, I know. I don't trust that guy at all.
I don't trust him for a second.
Especially when I watched him buy his McLaren F1 fucking for $1 million in 2000. I showed you that video, and that guy didn't even look like he fucking knew what the fuck he was doing.
It might not even be the same guy.
It might not even be, it's just fucking crazy. And then the Tesla cars are the biggest pieces of shit. Look it up. Number one worst rated car makes AMC look like a great car, the Pacer. The most cars that have the most, 50% of them have a broken windshield that falls off a door, a fucking tail light, and that people will just still do it.
They don't just catch on fire from time to time.
Or they blow up, yeah.
Just catch on fire for no reason. People are like, oh, driving my Tesla, and that it just caught on fire, and now I'm here. And
You know why they're not doing it yet? Because this is exactly where Chiron was when the Ford Pinto, the AMC Pacer, when you would hit them from the rear, would blow up because the gas tanks were right in the back and they were super exposed. And the reason why they're not doing that is because they're pushing the climate thing and they're pushing electric cars, and they're watching Ford, they're watching Chevy, they're watching all these Mercedes, they're watching fucking all these people coming out with electric cars. Like, we don't want people to be scared of them, so don't say anything.
Yeah.
But back then, everybody was already on gasoline, right? So it was like the EPA had just started in the 70s, and people started being like, okay, the gas shortages were happening, and they were like, okay, but you rear end these cars 6 out of 10 times, they're blowing up. Got to get them off the road. And that ended AMC and the Gremlin.
Yeah. I mean, those cars became the laughing stock.
They are. And Teslas are going to be, I've said it for years, Chiron and Aries. If you have a Tesla, you're a laughing stock. You will be somebody who owned an AMC Pacer. You will be an AMC owner, basically the 70s. And any of my people out here who know about fucking 70s AMC, like that is something that you don't want to have a picture of.
You ever notice how nobody really talks much about their 70s year vehicles? Like there's not like a hot commodity out there for many like vehicles in the 70s. It's always like your 68, your 69s.
Oh yeah, 70s vehicle. The only ones that have some value of classic are Mercedes, believe it or not. But that's about, it. I mean, unless you have a Mach 1 Mustang, but the 73 Mustang was a boat of steel. It was huge. It was
everybody hates on that thing. Yeah.
I mean, they don't handle, they don't even straight line fast. Like they're pieces of shit, and they had 351 Clevelands in them. They had 351 fucking Ford Clevelands, and they were pieces of shit. Like people don't even realize that Chiron Aries shit, like shag carpet, like the way that we see a lot of the designs now. I always think of Kanye and like how he dresses, and like he's gonna be a laughing stock one day. Like he's a Chiron Aries, like typical.
He already kind of is to me. I mean, I don't think I've ever looked at Kanye and been like, wow, this guy has the best style. His shoes crack me up.
No, Chiron was not in Aries in 68. Yeah. Well, yeah, 68 into 69. And then now we're 4 years in, right? So it's like, into 2018 to 2019, 3 years, we're at Chiron where it was at, 73, 72, 73. Go look at the AMCs at that time.
I'll just
here, fucking, here, fuck. Why not? We're here trying to give people, Mercury retrograde is a great time for research. It's a great time for integrating and remembering things. It's a good time for bringing things in that have naturally already came into your life and finally accepting them. It's not going to find new things. It's not going to take on new things. So it's like, okay, So what was wrong with the AMZ Pacer? The Pacer had asymmetric doors. The right was longer than the left, so passengers could climb in the back, but the oddball design feature had unexpected consequences. When the Pacer was converted into a station wagon, items stored in the back fell out when the right doors were open. There were so many bad things about AMC. It's crazy. And of course, right when fucking Chiron went in Aries. Or here's the Gremlin gas tank, and these were ugly cars, but the big one was the Ford Pinto. Boom. And that was at the end of Chiron Aries in 78. Keep off my rear, I'm explosive. Like these, and you know, you go look at a Tesla today, the rear end of a Tesla, right? They look like a gremlin. They look like they look the same. People are driving around in cars that we're going to laugh at for the rest of our lives. We're going to be like, those were pieces of shit. They're not even going to be able to run because of the batteries, right? Look at the rear ends.
I know people that think those cars look so amazing.
I know. It's because they've fallen into the fucking Chiron Aries spell.
I mean, I'll give it to them. It looks cooler than a Prius.
I don't know. The new Prius looks a lot nicer.
The new Prius isn't too bad. But
I would take a Prius over a Tesla any day of the week. Fuck yeah. My buddy Tom has one.
I have a buddy who has one too. He takes that thing off-road.
These are the ugliest cars ever made. They don't even look like a car. They look like a fucking AMC Gremlin. The new version. That's what they look like. I don't know what to tell people. You know what I mean? Like
the dog knew in that picture
you know what I mean? Like they look
the dog
like
was like this.
Or
thing's
here, like
fucked.
the Pacer. Like, you know what I mean? Like they look like a fucking Pacer. Like it's fucking crazy.
Wow.
I was saying this before it happened. Like I was preparing people for Chiron and Aries being like, this is when cars start to look weird, people start to fucking fall into stupid fucking things, and the shot to me is like being a hippie now. Right?
Join the
peace.
Join the peace
and safe. Yeah, exactly.
Peace and safety.
Look at the year 1973. Ready? Here, I'll just do some quick fucking astrology for you motherfuckers out there. Let's just do some fucking shit. Here, let's just do some shit. Let's go to right now at the exact time. 1973. There it is, 19 Aries. Where are we at today? 15. We went up to 16, or what did we go up to this year? 17?
15. 16. Yeah, 16 like 20
16.
something.
So really we would be in 1972. Right here. That's where we're at, right? So we're in 72. That was 73 Pacer. Here. There it is. It's a gremlin.
Fucking nice gremlin.
Same kind of like cool, bigger windows, right? Oh shit, son! Look at that! We're gonna laugh at that for the rest. We're gonna laugh at that shit for the rest of our lives. My kids and my grandkids are gonna laugh and be like, "What the fuck was that ugly piece of shit?"
That was the funniest moment.
And the fact that people think, look at, here's a good example of what your Tesla is doing. These are so ugly. Like, and the way that they brand it too, it's got the same look in the back. It's so funny. It's so hard to find. And like, look at the people who think they're super cool too. Like, you're not. Why are you wearing driving gloves, bro? In your Tesla. Look at the way that the front end is.
Sexy.
I'm telling you, Chiron Aries. Here. I don't know what to tell people. The big windows, the way that it just like doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't have a car-like look, but it does. It has it's a gremlin. You're looking at a fucking gremlin. Chiron Aries.
Not ideal for cars.
Well, no, when cars, well, like the Lightning, like the new F-150 Lightning, right? That's a Chiron Aries moment. That truck already is having problems. So if you look at a 2022 Ford F-150 Lightning, and then you look at its towing and put 58 miles, okay, like on boards, boom. Okay, so this is the new fucking car that people are spending $100,000 on, the new truck. This owner went and bought one. They say you can tow your boat like a normal truck, all that. Charged it full. He went 58 miles. If you're an electric car owner, you're just go trade that shit in before you're going to get fucked.
Damn.
Fast. Well, it's like the mortgage market. Like, it's going to go, but everybody thinks that's where it's all going. No, it's going to reverse. It's going to reverse. You watch. You heard it here first. You heard it here first. Go get rid of it fast. Go get a fucking mild hybrid like Mercedes is doing with a fucking V8 twin turbos and an electric 48 volt motor.
The gas mileage you get on your car.
And you get great gas mileage, but you still have the motor, and then the motor gives you more horsepower. Mm-hmm. And then there's no alternator, so it charges the fucking car for you.
Yeah, that system
without an alternator, and it's fucking like that. Like, that's what Mercedes is doing.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, you couldn't get to your town and back. Somebody's saying, like, it's fucking, you'd be stuck.
That's not a lot of miles.
And with towing, you really think you could pull up somewhere and be like, hey, let me plug in real quick.
Yeah, right.
To go another 58 miles, and then it's like all day to plug in.
And try and fit into one of those little Tesla charging
stations. It's going around everywhere because these are just coming out, and this motherfucker called it out. This motherfucker called it out.
Is he putting diesel in his wakeboard boat? That wakes.
Well, and then the other thing is that the Lightning, see, this is according to Ford. The F-150 can tow up to an impressive 10,000 pounds, specifically when it's equipped with the extended range battery, with a max payload of up to 2,000 with the basic battery pack. And he mentions his Lightning is the top of the line platinum trim, which comes with the upgraded battery as opposed to the Saturn one. Oh, his towing experience should come no surprise, and he's in a 6,000 pound boat.
Yeah, that's a big boat.
So he's 3,000.
I don't know why it's
payload.
got like a diesel,
right?
Hose in the pump,
right? And then TFL also is a Lightning with a bigger battery, towing a less aerodynamic but comparatively heavy 6,000 pound trailer. Cried Uncle, and pulling into a charging station with 9% battery left, they made it 88 miles.
That's not good.
And that's TFL truck. Like, these guys test trucks, right?
You couldn't even tow your shit.
So like lake. Gas versus EV, I actually follow these guys, and they are just like, this is just a joke. Like, why would you even buy one of these? So I'm telling you, Chiron and Aries will be, the electric cars are the stupidest thing. Have you seen Mercedes electric car? The most ugliest thing I've ever seen besides Tesla. It's the EQS. Okay. This is like the most ugliest fucking, this car will forever be a car. The inside's cool. They make people think it's cool, but it's it's gross. It's fucking gross. Again, they're doing the same weird gremlin thing.
They really are. I don't know why they can't make electric cars look good. They really struggle with that for some reason. It's always the downflaw.
It's going to be the downflaw. That's what I'm talking about. Like, that thing is ugly. I mean, it looks better in a Tesla, but it's fucking ugly.
It looks better in that color than the other color.
Right? Like, it's fucking gross. That's a concept car. Like, sorry, not gonna work out. Just follow Chiron and Aries. That's why I love astrology. Like, I'm not gonna base my life off the media and what the hype is and anything in life, because I'm just gonna be like, well, Chiron and Aries, every car that tried to be cool and different and everybody got, and like everybody fucking, you can't even get money for those cars.
Nope. And they blew up.
Or they had problems. And you're seeing Teslas blow up. You're seeing F-150 Lightnings not even doing what they say they can do. Then the number one problem, so I was on July 4th at my buddy Tom's house, and I know this guy, I'm not going to give away his name, but he's a manager at fucking Enterprise, like a couple of them. Like, he's pretty high up. And so their electric car department, he's like, dude, after about 6 months, you charge it full, it's doing 100 miles,
just like
120 miles, just like your iPhone, just like all that shit. So, like, all these people are so dumb. They're falling into the Chiron Aries spell of, like, I want to look cool.
Or I want to...
Even at the risk of it being weird.
Person. You're being told you're a good person if you get an electric car. You're saving the planet. People fall for this stuff all the time.
Nobody's saving the planet. They're pumping more coal and more fucking natural gas.
Mining to get those batteries.
Mining to get the batteries, and the mining is insane. And then where are they getting the electricity to charge it?
And what are they doing with these batteries when they're done? You're not even supposed to throw a AA battery in the trash.
We can't already live with air conditioning when it's hot or heating when it's cold in all these other countries or even in America. And then you're doing it. Oh, yeah, let's just keep pumping the grid with more. Now everybody's got to charge these huge fucking batteries that, by the way, after about 5 to 6 years, sometimes 8, when they go bad, it's $25,000 to $35,000. Even if it's a piece of shit. That's how much the batteries are. Lithium ion batteries for my RV, for my solar, they're fucking $1,000 battery, and you need like 12 if you want to do it, right? It's like 12 grand if I want to do that system.
Damn. And
then after 5-6 years, they're bad. So it's like,
is that a good investment?
No, that's why I bought a fucking cheaper fucking battery that fucking lasts fucking 5 years, but I could fucking replace it easy.
Mm-hmm.
And it might not store it as long. We're talking like 20 more minutes.
That's what you have a generator for.
That's what I have a generator for, motherfucker. But even without the generator, I'm saying like, it'll just like, I lose 20 minutes that day and then wait for the sun to recharge it. And then at night, keep all the lights on, the power, the plugs.
Which we've done before and it works great.
Yeah, even the TV works, all that shit. I don't understand how people are falling for all this shit right now. I think that this retrograde roulette is like, you are playing the most dumbest game of roulette in your life, where, you know what? You think it's going to land on black. You think it's going to land on red. You think it's going to land on your number, and it lands on 00 green.
Yeah. It's a great time to not get sucked up in the external. If we're going very internal with these retrogrades and we're dealing with our personal stuff, that's where the gold's at. That's where all the goodness is at. So don't fall for it, please. This is probably the time. I bet we see by the end of this month the most crazy sort of propaganda. You need to do this.
It's going to come out of nowhere, too.
You need to do this right now. This is so important.
Right after the Queen's death, or her funeral. Right after the Queen's funeral. When 6 planets are retrograde, everything stopped. Mars is coming into its fucking weird place.
Very weird.
And Mercury's a retrograde back in Virgo and be opposing Neptune. And Jupiter's retrograding almost back into Pisces. And Mercury's already going to start opposing Jupiter in retrograde. As Jupiter's retrograde, as Pluto's stationing, as Saturn's squaring Uranus, all by September 29th, this motherfucker is, right when you think the world's fine. There's no COVID. There's no nothing. There's no this. There's no that. There's no everything fine. Look at the queen. Oh my God. People are falling so... You're praising the queen so you can prop up King Charles and not think about his dirty shit, and not think about his fucking crazy fucking pedophile fucking family that fucking he gave $12 million with Queenie to fucking Andrew, and the Epstein shit, and I mean the list goes on. I can't believe how dumb people are. They fall for this shit. I've had people unsubscribe from me like, you're not being respectful to the queen. I'm like, I'm an American.
Not my queen.
Am I ever gonna kneel to a king or a queen ever again? Fuck no.
Sorry.
Fuck no. That's what we're the only country that had the balls. Pluto. And then when Australia this week said, we're gonna fuck this, the queen's gone, let's go, let's get out.
Smart.
And people are fucking saying you are disrespectful, and they're trying to turn them into January 6 people.
I know.
It's like, this is what Pluto at the end is, and you gotta own that in yourself. You do not fucking lay down to some monarch right now. You do not fall for this fucking spell, because that's what it is. It's a spell. That's why Queen was already dead. She was already gone. They waited for the right moment. Right when the world wasn't worried about COVID anymore. Right when the world was on the brink of all this crazy shit with Ukraine. Right when the world had Biden pass and the Democrats pass this crazy fucking package about environmental shit. And it's all set up. What? Think of all of the shit of the moment to then say the doctors are there, and then boom, she's dead. And then boom, instantly you see King Charles already at a perfectly well desk, already knows what to say. Everything's all preset. The media's covering it like she was so amazing. She was the most beautiful thing, and she was the most graceful monarch that ever lived in all time. Don't forget that she became queen right after fucking her daddy fucking, was done fucking being king fucking after World War II. You have to have a king in for world wars, not a queen. That means World War III. That means fucking the new shot and the new fear. They're going to do it all at the same time in these next fucking 3 to 4 weeks. It's done. Like, people have no idea. You are going to fall for it so easy, because if you've already fallen for all that, anybody who isn't, fuck yeah, don't keep falling for this shit. But it's going to be with Jupiter retrograding back into Pisces at the end of November. Holy fuck with the eclipses.
0 Aries for the fucking solar eclipse.
People are going to fucking fall for that. We are going to see the craziest false flag we've ever seen in our lives.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to make 9/11. It's going to make COVID. It's going to make all of it seem like little.
I think so too. I think so too. It's coming. It's coming. This is one of the craziest eclipses, that solar eclipse in Scorpio, that I've seen since I've been practicing astrology, for sure. It is intense to the max. With Venus,
I'd place my bets on it landing on 00 green.
That's a fucking bold move, which I think is the way to go.
Which you very rarely do in roulette. I'm a roulette connoisseur. You think right? I'm like, okay, the last fucking 15 games, it's gone like black 9 times, and it's gone red fucking 6. And we just saw a red twice. It's going black. Then that's when I put 500 on black. Or, you know what? God, the odds 75% of the time, and the evens 25%. Just did 2 evens. I'm going odd.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But this is that weird moment when you go, something feels a little different. I'm going 00.
Boom, baby.
And it's always, I'm telling you, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the universe. Maybe it's rigged roulette. I don't know. But there's something about that game that right when you're about to fucking strike it big, and right when it's all fucking going too good, and the whole table's feeling the vibe and everything's going good, 00 pops up. And everybody, all you watch is the fucking roulette person fucking grab all the fucking chips and the cash. If you put cash down, just go the whole table, and nobody betted on 00. This is the time where you bet on 00. Like, oh no, that can't happen. Oh no, this will happen.
Mm-hmm.
This will happen. Not, oh no, maybe not. Mm-mm. Retrogrades are for you to take it all in.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a time for you to fucking be, I'm going to try and you can't figure out of your problems right now by trying to overthink about it and trying to find some sort of way. This is where you take it all in and soak up the good shit and be prepared and be like, when it all comes direct, I know it's all changing. And prepare yourself of where you want things to change and also know what's coming in. The retrograde is what teaches you, like, what has come in? What did these motherfuckers tell us last year when it all turned direct?
Exactly.
They mandated the shot.
That's it.
And they held that hard.
They
held it. They tried so hard. They tried so hard in the fall of 2021 during Saturn square Uranus, where they said corporations, 100 people and over, must get it. Mm-hmm. They did everything they could because nobody was getting it. And they tried to blame the whole pandemic on people who didn't get it.
Yeah.
They tried to say, like, look at the people who got it. They're the reason not. July 4th.
A pandemic of the unvaccinated.
The pandemic of the unvaccinated. When it's a pandemic of the it's just the death of massive vaccinated people. And even the data shows that. And of course people say, well, that's because everybody's vaccinated. Saying, no, it's not. How come the people who don't have it aren't dying and all the people who do have it are dying? That's the fucking thing that's happening in every country but America right now. Every country's doing that right now, research. Go look up excess death and how it's breaking records every month at people in their homes who got it, not waking up. Just that night they go to bed, everything's fine. Like Bob Saget, think of that's the situation. Oh, he hit his head. Well, that's because he passed out. He hit his fucking head.
That's the roulette wheel.
That's the roulette wheel. I don't, people fucking unsubscribe. I don't care. I'm trying to help you. We're trying to help you. We're trying to fucking give you the real shit. I don't know what to tell you at this point. Like, this is where you bet on 00. Don't start betting on, it's going to go red for me. Don't worry. Don't worry about me. It's like, I'm worried about you because I care about you. We all care. I can't do anything though. I can't tell you what to do. I just am saying, like, take it way more fucking serious. The writing's on the wall, and I'll finish with this last thing that I just saw. You know, it's like I was like, what's going on in the world right now? I was like, oh, actually I'll look on look at this image right now. The UK remains in period of national mourning following the death of Queen Elizabeth II. You like how they're all stuck in a line, walking into the fucking...
Just being herded.
They're all being herded into a lying church. Like, you know what I mean? Actually, did Dr. Drew put anything new out since he's been being canceled? Yeah, the Medical Board of California and the new laws is that they can take away your license to practice medicine if you put out anything other than what they tell you to put out. But it was TMZ, and it was right before we got on the show. There's so many articles. What did Britney Spears claim? If she likely won't perform again. I kind of expected that. Here. F1 driver, respiratory failure after surgery, spent night in ICU. This kid's like fucking what, 26 years old? And had post-operative anesthetic complication, including respiratory failure? This is what's happening.
All over.
All over. This 2 hours ago. Like, I don't know what to tell people about it. Former UFC fighter Elias Thurdo died Sunday following a battle with liver cancer. He was only 34 years old. If he got it, they just exacerbate those symptoms to stage 4 to craziness in a matter of months. I don't know what to tell people. You know? Like, it's fucking crazy how many fucking young people are dying. It's not normal. I guess they broke up.
Oh, really? Said she tweeted her support.
Yeah, her support, but Giselle and Tom broke up. And she's a Cancer. The end of Pluto Capricorn. It's getting weird. So, Jimmy Kimmel is getting called disrespectful and extremely irritating for this stunt on the Emmys acceptance speech. Well, yeah, I mean, the guy fucking told people if they're unvaccinated, they shouldn't be allowed to go to the hospital and die. This guy got shooting at Roscoe's. Oh shit! I used to go to that one in Hollywood, right by my house. Let's show it. Oh, damn! That's in Hollywood. Look at somebody put hip hop astrology. Who's going through a transit Mars in Gemini, opposite is natal Mars in Sag. Mars is the planet of violence, guns, blood, iron. Opposition is considered to be a negative angle that'll bring out the worst of the planets involved. Man, know thyself.
I mean, I just had that opposition and I'm still here, but yeah. Sure.
Yeah, but it's environmental, right? Like, if you were going on a journey in the wrong environment.
That's true, but it's probably more than a Mars opposite Mars, you know?
You know, like, it's about to get, like, even like these situations are happening normally. While then you have Ben Stiller, who brought his 20-year-old daughter, who he shares with Christine Taylor and his date to the Emmys. Like, two different worlds.
Damn, he's looking old.
Two different worlds.
He ain't Zoolander anymore.
No. It just kind of blows my mind if you look at the Twitter, like how many, there's only like, this is 11 hours ago, there's only 4 retweets. Like, people don't give a fuck about this shit.
Nobody gives a fuck. That all died.
Like,
TMZ is going to go out of fucking business.
Well, and Aaron Rodgers is a gangster. He fucking put up astrology on his, he tattooed astrology on him. Did you notice this, that Bill Maher puts the flag on the wrong way? The stars should be on the other side. I just want to like reach out to him and be like, yo, but Aaron Rodgers at least is a motherfucking gangster. He motherfucking didn't get the shot. He fucking didn't give a fuck. He's like, the best fucking player on the men's side can't play. One of the most fit guys in the fucking world who's had COVID at least once, if not twice, can't fucking come to New York.
Yeah, fuck yeah, Aaron. And
make
what's
it
cool
make
about
sense.
Aaron is
Make
he's
it
playing
sense.
like some of the best football he's ever played over the past couple of years. So
yeah, and then, you know, like, look at
him.
Rodgers and Maher accused the Nets, who told Irving he could play in road games but not home games. Then he said he couldn't play for the team at all, of changing their tune once the team started struggling. Like, it was as stupid as to sit in a restaurant and take off your mask and then put it on when you stand up, as if the virus only attacks you while you're standing.
Straight up.
Like, this is where it's getting fucking crazy. Fuck yeah, I love Aaron Rodgers. He's a fucking man.
Yeah.
He's sad.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are in a world where I don't think people are ready for what's coming. Like, it's so gnarly. It's going to make everything look like what we went through was fucking waiting for the plane to take off and
baby
eating
food.
peanuts and eating Gerber baby food.
It was baby food. It was the pre-show, the lobby, the foyer, whatever you want to call it. We're in the arena now. It's like the gladiator arena too, because you got to be fucking fit for survival, if you will.
Yeah, this is a time where you get around the people that are your team, that the people that you can know are for sure. Is not a time to try and go backwards.
Right.
This is not a time to go to your ex. This is not a time to fuck. And I'm not saying that because it's a Mercury. I'm saying because it's a Mercury retrograde in Libra on Fortuna, and it's fucking with 6 planets retrograde. Like, it's like the worst time for you to go back to an ex. It's the worst time for you to keep holding on to somebody that's not moving on. It's the worst time for you to keep trying to fix something that's broken with somebody. It's the worst time for you to try and figure your problems out by doing the same solutions that you've always done. This is time to do different things. This is time to take what you already have seen and gathered. Everything that feels like it comes in new won't be working.
Can be a very revolutionary time for people. But it won't be doing the same thing or going back to old situations. It'll be the new stuff that's presented itself. Already, it's not like you're finding this stuff out now. It's already been discovered. You're just doing something about it.
Yeah, like it just, you know, it's a beautiful time during these moments when you look at things of like how you and I met and how we got to where it took some time.
Mm-hmm.
And it fucking, the signs all pointed to it, and it just all naturally
just happened.
And you did come after everything did come direct, but I met you right before everything went retrograde in person.
During an eclipse.
Yeah, but it was still before the 4 planets retrograde last year.
Just a Mercury Cazimi.
Right.
On an eclipse. But yeah, it was right before all that.
Yeah, but Mars and Venus were...
Yeah, they were direct.
They were direct.
Yeah.
And, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. Or like my girlfriend and I, we met in November 2020, and her and I have been tripping on all the little things that, it's like knowing but not knowing, and then how it all finally comes together.
I know. And I haven't seen you so happy ever.
Oh,
It's
thank
crazy.
you.
It's fucking amazing.
It's been fucking really good.
I'm so happy.
I've been enjoying.
Every time I see you come into the studio, you're just like, "What's up?"
What
It's
up?
fucking a great day to be
I don't
alive.
know, when you're in love and it all comes together in such
Yeah,
a
it's
beautiful
beautiful.
way. Like retrogrades are good for that. That's the best thing that I could say about retrogrades. Or, you know, but it's not like I just met her in the retrograde.
No.
And even her and I, you know, we might have put the picture up, but we, you know, I asked her out.
That was
almost a
before the
week prior.
retrograde.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was before it and all that. And, and you know, somebody like me, I was telling people, these are these last windows. And when the window was there, I was like, this is it. Boom. And she was in the same place. And we were like, it was a dual, we both were on the same page. It wasn't one person, it was two. And her and I had enough background and friendship and all that shit to finally, the right moment in time that we both wanted to change our lives and our worlds, and both have this, her and I see this love the same way, and we want the same type of relationship. We want to go in the same direction. We have the same feeling for the mission. We want our own missions. We want to do things together, but like there's also no pressure.
That's the best part. It shouldn't be. Relationships aren't meant to be pressure.
And so this retrograde's been fucking amazing because we're just focused on the things that God's already given us, and
your environment together,
and bringing it deeper and closer together. It's not a time of extroverted. It's not like her and I are going for something. Mm-hmm. Her and I are retrieving it all and bringing it in. And so, like, that's the difference. It's a huge difference. It's like a whole different experience. But that's where I don't know. People, her and I feel lost in time. I'm like, how long have we been together now? Or like how, like it's that
I feel
crazy.
lost in time just in general. I would imagine being in love, you would feel even more lost in time.
I mean, I really do believe in the new earth, and I really do believe that her and I have really accessed like that. She feels that way too. I don't want to speak for her, but she feels that way too. And it's been, for her and I, it's been the most healing. For her and I, we both are 4-hour sleep people. Now we get like 6-7 hours sleep. Like we've restored our health together. We've restored our peace. We've restored our true soul happiness. We restored getting out of our own shadows and accepted each other for our shadows. Like it's a fucking...
That's why relationships are so healing when they're good,
real and they're
real.
divine love, and it's so good that you don't, it doesn't have like a manic aspect to it.
Mm-hmm.
It has like a beautiful, I always look at her as Venus anyway. She reminds me of
Libra rising. She is Venus.
I know she is Venus, so I'm like, you know. But that's like the part. It's just, that's where we're at. And anything right now, or like when we did the High Vibe event, I was tripping how we all have come together over all these times to be all on that stage together to do that on Friday, which you can go on highvibe.tv or the link down below and purchase it, where we talk about what's this reality doing and getting perspective from the masculine and feminine, getting human design, getting the girls with the asteroids, and I mean, honestly, and Natalie with her insight, and then you with your
Natalie
insight.
brought some great insight, even though like she was the host, right? That was her position,
know.
but she came through with some like really, really good stuff. That was great.
So it's that's the only thing that you could see, but it's really not a bad. It's great. It's the most amazing things are coming together because they naturally already were together, and now they're getting closer. That's a retrograde.
That's
They're getting closer.
The
if
things
you
that
have,
are meant to be there are tighter.
Yeah.
And the things that aren't are feeling like...
Yeah, they're feeling like...
It's obvious that they're not tight.
Yep.
And it's like...
So stop worrying about that, or stop going or trying to reach. Like 6 planets retrograde is like being a trash compactor in Star Wars. Like, you know,
that's how tight.
Like, you know, like you really think that you're going to get out, and like instead maybe surrender a little more and just like, okay. And hopefully you have a sexy honey that's getting close to you that already came through in multiple direct aspects or multiple ways. Like it's not a instant coffee moment.
No.
This is where you want to get a French press out, you know?
Some good coffee right there.
Yeah. Like this is definitely a time where it's percolating, and the good things only, and anything that's not, you just let it go. And then you also don't worry through these things, because there's so many things that could happen that could come closer. There's so much unpredictability with Mercury retrograde on Fortuna on the positive, and also with North Node Uranus that we'll get through. But if you're not showing a way that you want to get through and want to evolve and want to make a change and want to pivot, like if I would have just stayed in my single life, I don't know if right now I'd be here in a good place.
I don't know either.
I don't think I would be.
You were getting edgy for a second. There's a little... You're always edgy, but...
I'm always edgy, but yeah, no, I mean, I'm a different person right now.
Yeah,
I'm a different person.
You're a Leo. You're a fucking double Leo. You got a lot of Leo. Like when you're happy, you can tell, you know.
Oh yeah, and it had been a while since I could say I was happy.
So I'm stoked.
It was a lot. I mean, even getting through my dad's anniversary, I didn't even cry.
I know.
But it was
crazy. That was a year ago,
but it was.
September
It's
11th.
already happened. It already happened. I already went through the grieving.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, it was just like a good remembrance of the memories, but it still goes on in a beautiful way.
And your dad, like you guys.
And
were tight
honestly,
like that,
my
that's
dad,
exactly
my
what he
dad,
would
my
want.
dad would be like, "You fucking enjoy your fucking sweet honey, you know.
Right.
Don't even fuck. What are you doing?"
Larry Palmer was cool like that.
You know what I mean? I think my dad brought her into my life.
It's very possible.
She felt my dad fucking.
Your
do the
dad's
whole
here
thing.
all the time.
I know.
I
for
never
me,
got to meet your dad, but I feel him here all the time.
I mean, his stuff's everywhere here. So.
That's probably why.
All of his stuff.
Maybe, I don't know.
But you know, there's that whole. This could be a great time for also connecting to, you know, the deeper parts of our spiritual psyche and our spiritual connection, and seeing the inner workings of it, especially 6 planet retrogrades. We haven't had this since the 80s. I mean, think about that.
It's kind of like the roulette wheel. The 00 right now is you.
Yeah.
So you almost need to put your whole stack on yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And what aligns with you and what feels good with you. And if there is some weird thing going on, then you go fucking figure that out. And be in the right environment to where there's solutions that could be had instead of staying away from the environment where no solutions can be had. Because Mars and Gemini here, that's about to retrograde, which was the one in 43 to 44, which was 7 planets retrograde.
Which was
that was like the that was the V2 rocket. That was the German. That was like that was the crazy. That's the Ukrainians right now.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh no, we're gonna win this, and we're gonna turn the tide, and you know that was Hitler being like, we're gonna turn the tide. We're going into Russia. 43. This is when they went into Russia. They lost bad Stalingrad. 44. They're like, you know what? Fuck, we're gonna go get them this time. And they were planning a counterattack, and they were going to do a surprise attack, and they were building the Panzer tanks, they were building the Tiger tanks. Porsche, German, was building Porsche tanks with big fucking long guns on them, and they had everything, and they hired the fucking commander who did the Swift Blitz fucking shit, and the Russians went and outdid him and took all the money from FDR, from a program that FDR had done. What do you think's doing right now? Right? And they fucking came and overpowered fucking Germany and fucking broke the lines, and that was the end. And Russia took over, fucking USSR took over all the stuff Germany had occupied. And then that's when, not Normandy, but fucking in Italy, fucking on the beach, fucking, that's when the first Allied troops. And so that was the moment Hitler realized, oh shit, I'm being, right?
Trash compactor.
Trash compactor. So,
oh shit.
This is definitely where if you try and overextend and you don't understand your environment, I would say it's not about overextending. I think it's about staying in the environment that's the healthiest and best for you with God, because it was with Aldebaran while it opposed Lucifer, who's within Taurus.
Right.
So literally it's Lucifer and fucking Archangel Michael, literally, in their exact positions is what they really are.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy.
And Mars.
So like that rapper that died, and he had the Mars opposition. That means he was, I bet you at Roscoe's Chicken Waffles, he was doing a little Luciferian shit, guaranteed. There was probably some fentanyl or something going on in that Roscoe Chicken and Waffles and some gang fight shit. And you're playing with Lucifer. Like, that's where you want to stay away from all the shadows of South Node Scorpio right now. You want to stay away from drugs. You want to stay away from all these like weird things that you think are hip and cool and shadowy and dark. You're not going to fucking fare well. And especially the shadowy dark that's coming out about the shot. You want to stay away from all those people who buy that program right now. It's a sinking Titanic ship. And people are sinking with the Titanic right now. And it's like, you don't want to do that. There are life rafts, and there's people out there who have them, but you're not seeing them on the news. They're the ones who are being canceled. Anybody who's being canceled over this shit, I'm not talking about Andrew Tate.
No. The real shit.
The real shit. You should probably pay attention to that. So.
True. They don't want this information getting out there. It's detrimental to their plan.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So, anyway, that was a good spiritual daddy.
Yeah, that was good. Place your bets.
The program, the Matrix, fucking PSYOP, CV, Democrat, fucking crazy, fucking neurotic. We showed the 1926 planets of retrograde was when Norway went into democratic socialism, and the democratic socialism fucking fuck everybody over and make them think they're getting everything. Not one program they're doing is affecting anybody in a positive way. Even their Medicare and their Medicaid and their fucking prescription drug shit doesn't even kick in for years. Like, it's so crazy.
Yeah, everything's so postponed.
It's all postponed
now and used for God knows
what.
When
they already know it's not. That's why they're doing the IRS 87,000 IRS agents. It's like, hello, you can't read the writing on the wall? People are so dumb. I can't. This is Mars and Gemini. I'm going to call people dumb even when I already do. But I have Mars in the third. Because they're just like, I already warned you, and it all, like, I've been vindicated a million times. So if you want me, with all the stuff we said tonight, I have no problem putting it out there and saying I was wrong in 4 weeks.
Yeah, totally.
No problem at all.
That's like one of the beautiful things, is just accepting when you are wrong, because we're not always going to be right. Nobody is. Nobody's perfect. So,
No.
that's taking responsibility.
Yeah,
that's important too.
That's all we could do, and we have to take responsibility though for the choices we make, including 100%. Taking a fucking shot that fucking is causing huge. It's causing every government except America, unless America's keeping it under wraps. They're more focused on UAPs right now, and that they have admitted that there are fucking other non-human entities that are flying these things. That's in the record now.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
And they did that all in the middle of this summer.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was part of this big false flag event.
Right.
For sure.
So it's like, but every other country is concerned over excess deaths right now, and they know the answer, but they're just like making sure. And then you have,
which they should.
You have all the labs and you have biolabs in Ukraine, but you have all the labs that are happening in all these other countries, in Sweden and all these places that are literally saying it's gone into the DNA. It's altering the DNA. And that's why the CDC is pulling all that shit off their website about it, because they haven't had the guts yet to tell the American people, like, what are you going to tell somebody that you're now on a ticking time bomb? Like, I
don't know.
Like, how do you tell that to 78% of Americans?
They may never. I don't know. It might things just happen.
That's why I think they're going to try and destroy the country, just because they don't have to deal with it. That's how bad the fucking lie is. The lie is so bad. And the atrocity is so bad.
Do you think it's a coincidence they knocked the Georgia Guidestones down that said that about the population decrease?
No, of course not.
Right? And then right now they're like, yeah, we don't want people to look at that right now.
People are fucking just...
Don't look at that.
So lost. So...
Feels inevitable. Sucks, but...
You got to be responsible and fucking own that shit and go get fucking help.
Yeah.
That's what Saturn square Uranus is. Don't think, you could do it alone. My body will fix it myself. Like... Right. Yeah, your body can naturally fix anything that comes at it, but when you're injected with an experiment that has never worked on humans and always failed and killed all the animals, and now they're doing one on 8 mice, and who knows? Those mice could be dead right now, but the FDA is not checking on them every day.
8,
which is fucking a cult. I hate to say it, is the cult of Saturn and mice, right? And all this stuff came out in the year of the rat. I mean, it's so there. You can just all day just go bang, 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 bang. And I just can't believe there's still so many people on the sauce. I just, it's like maybe Joe Biden fucking played with them when they were a kid. I don't know. I'm at that place where I'm like, maybe they were part of a huge group of kids that they don't even realize. And maybe they were part of the weird aliens that they're now admitting are in the spaceships.
I
don't know.
Centuries, it's not centuries, probably
maybe that's
been decades of brainwashing.
Maybe that's going to be the false flag. Is they're going to say that the reason why Joe Biden was weird is he was an alien and they had taken over the country.
God.
I mean, that's a 00 moment to me. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, especially with the Jupiter-Saturn year, he's got the cursed tip of canoe and the Jupiter-Saturn shit.
I'm at the point where
if you followed anything from a cursed fucking president based off the cursed tip of canoe, I don't know where your fucking mind's at without even looking at history. I don't know. And I'm sorry to say he is not Lincoln.
No.
Not the same.
Kennedy.
No.
I'm at the point where I don't know. I'll probably never say it. I can't believe that happened again.
Oh, at this point, too many things that are literally like not only never supposed to happen, but are fucking literally unbelievable because it is so in your face. And I can't even believe that there's no accountability in the people. The people, not just the press, the people.
It just needs to be the people.
President lied and said, I will never mandate this, and then fucking did executive orders and forced people with fucking experimental shit that all the data and all the courts that made them release it give you all these, the shit you get and the diseases you get are pages long. And fucking the shit that's happening, and they're not doing anything, and every other country's starting to look at it and go, oh shit. And fucking... You're just going to, no, everything's fine.
No.
You know why? Because too many people are afraid to speak up. If I get killed for doing this, at least I'll die with knowing I did my job, the mission. It doesn't scare me. It doesn't. I'm not scared. I'm not scared. If I fucking get killed for doing this, I at least will die in the fucking knowing I did the right thing. I was on the right side. I really don't care.
Same.
I really don't care. If any way to die that would be, I would be like, well, it's probably not a bad way to die, having Biden's goons fucking kill me, and Chinese goons, and Russian and Ukraine goons, and you know what I mean? Like, if that's the way that I'm gonna go down as an astrologer, if I'm bringing out the truth, and being like the astrologers that got thrown in with the Jews in concentration camps during these fucking transits coming up, hey, I'm not afraid. Most people out there are fucking afraid.
Way to go right now.
Most people out there are afraid. They don't speak up. They don't, you know.
Totally.
They don't put it all on the line. This is the time to put it all on the line. You know. I can't even believe how many people I've known that I've done this work with won't say anything. I'm like blown away. I'm like, oh, wow. Too afraid. Too afraid to speak out, too afraid to do it, I'm just like, what social media mine's going to be taken down next? I don't know.
Maybe this is pretty much the last one.
I have Facebook, but they've already blocked my group from like getting traction and all that shit without even it being me, just the 20,000+ people in the first astrology group that was ever made on Facebook. Just, yeah, it's like
crazy.
Because we have talks like that in there, they've stopped that. That's why I made High Vibe. So I don't, you know, it's just like, that's all that's left. And if then they try to take down that, I don't know at that point. I mean, I'll probably just be rotting in some fucking Biden cell and probably Kamala Harris cell and be considered a fucking astrology terrorist because I fucking question all the lies that they say and what the astrology says and the shadow reality and the Saturn square. I mean, all of it, and the Saturn Pluto and the control and the Saturn and fucking Uranus square and the fucking Jupiter Pluto's 3 times in Capricorn, and the list goes on and 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 on. And I was right. I'm going to own it right now. I was right. I called that Trump would win on election night because I had to pick. I said in my pre-fucking election thing, I said, this isn't going to be a normal election, and I don't even want to pick a side because I don't see either of them winning. That's what I said. And then everybody tends to be like, you were wrong about the trial. And then I said, if I had to pick, because there was a big list, there was a guy, I forgot his name, and he's like, give me which side to be on the list. And I'm like, well, okay, at the end of the day, I'm going to pick Trump. He's going to win on election night by a landslide, which that's what actually happened. But before that, I said, and my videos are still on YouTube, and all these liberal Democrat fucking weird astrologers are trying to say I predicted it wrong. I said, I don't see any of them winning. And I said, there's going to be something really weird, and this is not a normal election, and it's not fucking going to be fucking good. But I said, if you want me to pick on a side, because in that list, you have to pick a side. I just said, okay, I'm picking Trump. Fucking, and that's who did win on that night. I remember being in here, and I had the fucking screen out here, and I was doing lives, and I'm like, I told you, motherfuckers.
I remember. I watched it.
We all knew. We all saw. You felt it deep in your bones. You felt it deep in your soul. You know?
And then wake up the next day, everything.
That's changed. A Mercury direct coming online of this is the truth. Mm-hmm. That moment. So, you know, and all of it, it's not even about Trump or Biden. It's about showing what astrology's, how to see through the shit.
Right.
That's all it's really about. And look at when some force tries to take control and do this and what they've run themselves into the ground and what it does to humanity and what it does to all these other people. And all the health shit and all the people that have died. There's hundreds of thousands, possible now millions of people that have died because of these choices, by fucking rigging a shit, by castrating the other side. And I bet you we're going to find out that fucking Nancy Pelosi was behind January 6th and the doors at the exact moment when the Arizona, and I'm the only one who says it. I can't even believe in the media they don't even talk about that. I figured that one out on my own.
The media definitely won't talk about that.
Yeah, if they woke the people up to start to put together the January 6th thing about the moment that Arizona fucking got a rare once in our lifetimes to actually see a Republican on both sides of House and Senate come together and say we are going to fucking object to the fucking call for this state and go into debates in each chamber. That was history. That was our constitutional republic working. And the second that they start debating, the doors open.
Coincidence?
Stop the whole thing. It wasn't that they stopped the count for Biden. They stopped the count of the Electoral Count Act for the state of Arizona.
It's a big one.
That's what people need to fucking see in their pineal gland and what they need to see in their heart and their soul. And they need to go look back at that moment on YouTube and go back and go, did they really stop the count for Biden, or did they stop the count because it wasn't for Biden? Not until it's counted, and that state legislatures that are represented through also the people are representatives in the Senate and the House. If there happens to be two, it doesn't matter what party, just two individuals, one from the House side and one from the Senate side, that come together and have a grievance that they want everybody in the fucking country to go, we need to stop the count and relook at this state. And there was way more states down the line. And then all the shit that's come out about Wisconsin, all the shit that's come about Michigan, all the shit that's come out about Pennsylvania. And you start going, wait a second, these are all the states where all the weird shit we watched for weeks them turn. And it made no sense that these counties out of nowhere just all went for Biden and nobody voted for Trump.
Yeah, it was amazing. Every mail-in ballot in the country was for Biden.
Was for Biden. It makes zero sense. That's not hermetic.
No.
So I have no problem being one of those people that I'm not a terrorist. I'm not trying to fucking take down the country or anything. I'm just trying to fucking let people see where you're being lied to again. Oh, we're not going to fucking mandate you. These are the same people telling you that the election was not stolen. This is the same people in 2018 who tried to say the election was stolen. These are the same people in 2016 who tried to say the election was stolen.
Relentless.
Let's not forget about that. Like, that's the craziest part of it all.
Yeah, I mean,
let's not forget that the White House press secretary, Jean-Pierre, tweeted herself that the election was stolen in 2016. So, like, these are the people that fucking, like, I have no problem bringing the facts. I have no problem telling you the astrology. And that was South Node Neptune. And I'm telling you, I did Age of Deception where we were going to be deceived on the highest level. I prepared people. And this is the biggest deception ever done. And this Jupiter Neptune shit, do not be deceived in this month. You are going to fucking fall for the worst trap. You thought COVID was bad. You thought this is going to be the biggest trap. And the queen is the connection. She was the big fucking queen that fell on the chessboard, and they put up the king. The king did not fall. The king is up now on the chessboard. And that's when it's wartime. That's when it's fucking crazy time. Look, think about chess and think about queens. They can move anywhere on the board. Queenie could do whatever she wanted. She can get away with whatever she wants. She can pay $12 million to her fucking son who fucking is a pedophile.
Real tactical.
It's super tactical shit. But now when the king's on the board, he has all the other pieces move because he can't move except one piece at a time. So it's like, move all the pieces. You all move. Go, get the rooks moving. Get all this. And he's gonna even maybe use, I don't know if y'all know in chess. I was in chess club, a dart un passant, where if you're in the right position with pawns and you're in front of another pawn right after where you're at, you can dart un passant and just go across them another way and take them out. That this is a dart un passant. Look that up in chess. This is a dart un passant. I've never said that before, but I'm telling people right now from my chess club days. And this is also where, the king is fucking gonna move his pieces and he's gonna fucking castle himself and fucking protect himself and have his nice pawns in front of him and have a rook on the other side. And let them all go. Let them all out. Let the knights out. Let the bishops out. Fucking let those pawns, full blitz. Boom. And people are dumb right now. They all thought that the queen already fell. The queen was already off the board. They put a pawn and turned it into a queen.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't know chess, then you don't know shit. All right, time to go. Love you all.
Much love, everybody.
Love you, Brian.
I love you, bro.
If I die this week because of this show, tell everybody I did not kill myself. And tell my girlfriend that too.
I will relay the message.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I did not I was nowhere where I should have been shot. I was nowhere where I should have been poisoned. I was nowhere any of that shit. Because I just fucking gave people the fucking deepest truth that there could ever be right now.
Always.
All right. Adios. Be on high vibe. For real. If you want some real shit, not some TikTok bullshit. All these YouTube astrologers who fucking are lame. There's only a couple good ones. Bye.